Welcome into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you on a Monday afternoon. And what a fun Super Bowl we had last night in Las Vegas. We're going to talk a lot about it, but it was a busy weekend outside of that with the Super Bowl, college basketball, NBA, Tigers in action, Grizzlies in action. A very, very busy weekend in sports, and we'll try to get as much in as we can over the next 3 hours. But Bryant, Brett, Johnny with you for those 3 hours. Brett, how are you this afternoon?
Brian, I am well, and it was a spectacular Super Bowl, and there was a long stretch of that first half where it was kind of a sloppy turnover fest game, and then it really turned into kind of what I really liked. That used to be a high-scoring game. It's not anymore. Right. But it had enough of defense. It had a lot of special teams, and then the best, Patrick Mahomes. He went out there and he showed it. And we talked about it last week in the run-up when we discussed every angle of this game that possibly can be discussed. He won it last night, I think, with the least best offensive cast of characters around him of his other two Super Bowls. And Kansas City, now they're in the future, they're going to have to really adjust and be really smart in what they do, because a lot of the money naturally and should go toward him. But if they can keep an anchor in the defensive line like Chris Jones and other defensive players, Karlaftis that had a good game, Karlaftis rather, and others, they're going to be around for a long time. Is it a Patriots dynasty? Well, no, but remember the Patriots kind of did that in two parts.
Sure, yeah.
So what if this is the first part of the Mahomes dynasty?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. And, there's not another quarterback I think I would rather bet on that's in the NFL right now than Patrick Mahomes. And obviously he has kind of the work that already proves it. But, he's just so good. And you mentioned, we spent all season long kind of talking about, this cast receivers he has. There's a lot of drops. This isn't a great group. But still, being able to go out there and, turn the season around, because there was a real time, there in December where, things were getting rough and they were, losses were stacking. And, to be able to bounce back from that, turn things around, and win the Super Bowl is just incredible. And really just shows, how great of a quarterback they have and how great of a coach that the coaching job that Andy Reid has done this year.
He won a Super Bowl with two touchdowns passing, with one of those going to Valdez-Scantling and another one to McCole Hardman.
Yeah, no, those are not all-pro guys at all. Those are not guys that you would think,
the definition of pedestrian.
Yeah, no. Nobody said, McCole Hardman, key to the Super Bowl, or same thing for Valdez-Scantling. And so, to be able to do it with that cast, and really, honestly, Brett, until the fourth quarter, Travis Kelce was pretty quiet and, didn't have a ton of yards, really kind of, turned it on in that fourth quarter. So, most of the game doing it without a star tight end, and still, was able to put them into a position to come back and have that game tied going into overtime and then win it.
We talked last week about the leaderboard for Super Bowl games and where that game, how Patrick Mahomes would shake out afterwards. Well, here it is, all-time career passing attempts. He's now second with 164 attempts. First place, Tom Brady at 421.
Wow.
Career passes completed in just Super Bowl games, Patrick Mahomes now second at 107 completed passes. That is second to Tom Brady at 277. Career passing touchdowns in the Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes with the two yesterday moved to fifth all-time with his 7 total in his 4 Super Bowl games, 3 wins and a loss. Here are the 4 guys in front of him, and you could argue in the Super Bowl era, over 58 of them, this is your top 4. This is your Mount Rushmore. This is your big 4 in the history of quarterbacks of the Super Bowl. Tom Brady 1, Joe Montana 2, Terry Bradshaw 3, and Roger Staubach 4.
It's pretty good group.
That is quite some company.
All Hall of Famers. That's
10 Super Bowl games for Brady, 4 for Montana, 4 for Bradshaw, 4 for Staubach, and now 4 for Patrick Mahomes. And he's very likable.
Yeah.
First thing he's talking about is enjoy tonight, enjoy the greeting at the airport today, the parade later this week, and get back to work.
Yeah, no, and I mean, now the talk last night after the Chiefs did it was, the chance of a three-peat and the chance for this team, and hard now, especially you talk about that receiving core that he had this year. Hard to bet against Patrick Mahomes, hard to bet against this team, and I think there's going to be a lot of people saying that they're going to win, back to back to back and have this three-peat next year.
You had a lot of people talking about 3 straight Super Bowls, and they are correct that nobody's ever done that.
Yeah.
But 3 straight championships, the Packers won the NFL championship and then the first 2 Super Bowls, so they did do that. But 3 Super Bowls, I mean that they're the only one next year that can do it.
Yeah, and I mean, as long as everything stays in place, and maybe they get a guy here, get a guy there, hard to argue against their chances. But I thought a really fun game. You mentioned, and everyone's been talking about the slow first half. You could have missed the first half and been completely fine with that game. As a man that bet over 7.5 punts last night, first half was beautiful. I mean, that was football right there. Also, over 1.5 field goals for I forgot, Harrison Buckner. Yeah. So, I mean, that first half was great. I really enjoyed it, and I was at a place. Get this, Johnny, you're going to love this. So I had placed this bet over 7.5 punts, and we went to some friend's house, and they have a son who's I think he's 6 or 7, and he does not know really anything about football. And so he's sitting there with me, and we're watching the game, and I'm kind of saying stuff, and he's asking questions about football, and I'm like, all right, another punt. And he's going, what's a punt? And I go, oh, it's when one team kicks it to the other team. We love punts tonight. And so the rest of the first half, me and him were chanting, punt,
Man,
punt,
that's amazing.
Punt, just the entire night. He did not know I had money on punts. He just and now he thinks that punts are this great thing in football, and they're really not.
Yeah.
Mitch Wisnowski and Tommy Townsend.
Yeah. How about
Who had that? Who had the reference 7 minutes into the show of Wisnowski Townsend. They had them a day, and it will tie into in a Sportstime first. Punting will tie into big number of the day.
Brett, I think I know where you're going with your big number. I was gonna bring up a stat, but I think it might be your big number, so I'm gonna keep it to myself, and we will reconvene if it is.
They set off, some boomers, didn't they?
Did. No,
you mentioned
really
Harrison Butker and those all-time Super Bowl records. Career field goals made, now the most in Super Bowl history. Harrison Butker with 9 over 4 games, topping Stephen Gostkowski, who had 7 over 6 games, and Adam Vinatieri with 7 over 5 games. We know Vinatieri's going into the Hall of Fame in 51 weeks. It'll be announced next year, Super Bowl week. I feel like Stephen Gostkowski should be right there with him.
I'm with you.
And Harrison Butker.
Crazy. I mean, unbelievable. A really fun game. And then to top it off, Brett, and we've already kind of given you your props, but I want to give them to you on the show. We got overtime last night.
Yes, sir. I called it Friday, and I had never called the second one. For years, I'd kind of fudged about the first one. I'd kind of picked it about 5 or 6 years in a row and finally got it right. But Friday afternoon was the first time I'd called for a second overtime in Super Bowl history. And I had San Francisco winning with a Jake Moody field goal. And let me tell you when I fell in love with Jake Moody. Last year when I went, season of 22, when I went to the Ohio State-Michigan game, pre-game, he's out at the 50 with the kicking tee, with the holding tee for like for field goals. He's making it from the 50. I mean, he could do it if he could fade it, he could cut it, he could line drive it. Wow. It was a show. I had not seen a pregame kicking show like that. And then when they drafted him and let go a really good kicker, to make room for him, I thought he would have a big year. He had a couple misses down the stretch of the year, but he did have a big year.
Yeah, no, had a huge year and a big night, and then we overtime we get the new postseason overtime rules, and I liked them. I enjoyed.
Nobody knew the rules.
Nobody knew the rules, including the players on the 49ers, who a lot of them after the game kind of said that they were not aware of the new rules. They did not know that it was interesting to see. I know there's been a lot of stories now written kind of about this, but the first one I saw was from The Ringer, and basically said that talking to players after the game from both sides, the Chiefs players were coming out saying that they had meetings, in training camp before the season about, look, postseason, new overtime rules, we need to get ready for this. They would have weekly meetings during or it would be a part of the weekly meetings during the playoffs of, look, this thing. And then they had 2 different meetings before the Super Bowl of, look, if we go to overtime, this is what's going to happen. This is how it works. And then on the other side, 49er players were saying that they had no idea the first time that they learned about the new overtime rules was when it was put up on the Jumbotron before overtime started. I think one player said that he just assumed that they wanted to get the ball first because you score first and you win. So it was very interesting.
Kyle
to see.
Juszczyk said that.
Juszczyk,
Yep,
that's right.
He did.
And so it was very interesting to see how both sides were very differently prepared for overtime in the Super Bowl.
I prefer this overtime. I much prefer it to sudden death, because sudden death's winning a coin toss and making a field goal.
Mm-hmm, yep.
And you got to give both teams kind of swings at bat. I know Shanahan's getting some criticism about that and his team not knowing it, and about kind of batting in the top of the first in overtime with how it's done now. And Kansas City players said that if San Francisco had scored a touchdown, and then when they get it back, they score a touchdown, they were going for two to end the game. And I think that would probably be the right math. The Super Bowl final score of 25-22 was not close to scoregami in the history of the NFL. I looked up. I think there's been about 20. There's been about 25 of those scores. It's unusual, but it's not that rare. 3 of the 57 Super Bowl final scores have occurred twice. 21-17 happened in Super Bowl 10 and 46. 27-10 happened in 12 and 15, Super Bowls 12 and 15. And 27-17 happened in Super Bowl 17 and 30. The unique scores, only time it's ever happened, 39-20 in Super Bowl 21, 55-10 in Super Bowl 24, and 43-8 in Super Bowl 48.
Wow. So no scoregami last night. That's unfortunate for the scoregami fans out there. But no, you mentioned Kyle Shanahan and his decision to take the ball first in overtime. I like that move. I think especially when you're going against the Chiefs, when both teams get the ball once, and then that third possession, the team that gets it, if they score, they win the game. I think that's what you want, because I think you feel like there's a good chance Patrick Mahomes goes down and scores. So if you can get a touchdown on the board, they come back, and if some reason your defense gives up a touchdown, then, you're playing with a 2-point conversion. But then if it's 7-7 after both teams get the ball, I want that first crack at trying to score and not giving it into Patrick Mahomes' hands, who I know he can very easily get a touchdown or get them close enough to where their great kicker can nail. He's already done it once with the longest field goal of this game. He can knock down another field goal.
Yeah, you crossed 50, and Butker was just pretty automatic. And I'm with you. I want to go down swinging aggressively. Now, the comeback to that is for that team that kind of bats in the bottom of the inning that goes second, like Kansas City did. They know what's in front of them. Yeah. They know the cards that are dealt, and they also know this. Every fourth down, you're going for it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And we saw that last night in overtime where, they just had to go for it, and, they were able to get it. And it kind of shows how good this Chiefs offense is. But no, the Chiefs made the plays down the stretch that they needed to win that game. And it was very, very impressive. And I think, I can't remember exactly how it all played out, but I think when it got to I forgot what the score was, but the Chiefs scored their first touchdown, but they're still trailing.
Yeah.
And everybody I was around said, oh, yeah, Chiefs are going to win this game. Yeah, they're going to come back and win this. And you just kind of had that feeling that even though they're losing right now, Chiefs are going to find a way to win this game.
It played out a lot like the last time these two played, and I'm not too much for crushing Brock Purdy today, but there was times where he looked very Garoppoloian.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
No.
I don't know if that's really a word,
Well,
but
we can make it one.
I mean, it was some flutter balls out there, and I thought, oh no, you're turning into Jimmy G like he did in that game that was right there in front of them to win.
Sure.
I don't. Do y'all think Kyle Shanahan choked?
I don't.
I do.
Do you really?
You do, Johnny. Okay,
I do.
Many do.
Yeah.
Many think.
I do.
You know, there he was again. How would you like to be the guy involved in both overtimes in defeat?
No, thank you.
OC for
Thank
Atlanta.
you.
And a lot of that was his fault, but it was
Yeah.
going through Dan Quinn's headset.
Sure.
But it was all going through his headset last night.
Yeah, no, I don't think he choked. I think the Chiefs just made plays down the stretch, and you know, you're going up a team like that's in, you know, this kind of dynasty that they have started, and you know, they just went and took it and won it.
I can't wait to see the TV rating. It should be out soon, and you know, it's got to be 120 million plus. I mean,
easily.
It was fun. The whole day was fun. I didn't get to the game aspect till about 5:25, and then the game that was supposed to kick off at 5:30 did not kick off until 5:41. What are we doing? The teams are coming out on the field and standing way too long.
Tails
And
all
I
the
think
time.
that helps the Allen Bell bet that under in the first half because they come back out and they're kind of rusty again.
Sure, yeah, and he certainly a first half under last night was a easy cash in that one. A slow first half and then a very busy second half. We'll talk a lot of the Super Bowl.
And his punting bet got there.
Sure did. That's where I
his
got it
one.
from. Yeah.
That is his one fact to life. And in fact, Allen had a really good day. He
did.
went 6-2 to take and complete his season NFL total at 58-30. Every one of these picks verified at our website and him picking with us on Friday. That's 659. College 42-36 for 594 for the year. 100 correct picks, 66 wrong, 602. Wow. Bruce Marshall, he was 1-2. He was close. You know, he had 49ers and under. He got the under, and he had 49ers winning by 1 to 6 points. So he was close. Sure. I mean, it wasn't bad picking, but he did go 1-2. 44-32 for the year. 578. College football 62-59. 504 for the year. 106-91 for 538 percentage. So our two Friday pickers had a smooth clip of 602 and 538, and every bit of it can be verified.
Yes, and again, you said it, but this is not, hey, ask me about this game. Hey, I got a really good feeling about this game. It's Bryant, for some reason, wants to ask him what he thinks about Iowa football every week,
right?
And he gives us, and they give us picks. You know, it's
or the under in the Buccaneers and Seahawks.
Right, exactly. I mean, it is unbelievable picking from them.
I know we're running late. And I know you got to set the line
No,
up.
you're good.
Y'all tell me who is the coach out there? And now, were these the same overtime rules that would have been in the wild card, divisional, and championship game rounds?
Yes, I believe so. I believe this
think
was
so.
all postseason.
All right, tell me the coach that in post game his players, his men, his team says to the media when asked. I don't think any of them were being really critical, but we didn't know the rules that would be fired summarily.
Oh man. That's a really good question.
Yeah.
I think
it's easy.
I think Mike McCarthy would be
no
my
doubt.
answer.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Jerry Jones would buy him a ticket on an airline. He wouldn't even go back on the charter if his players post game were saying, "We didn't know the rules."
I didn't know that it was any different this year. No, I think you're absolutely
he'll
right
be
about
fired.
that. I think he's starting to look for reasons to fire Mike McCarthy. And,
His
I'm
time
sure.
is almost done.
Need to do a lot of winning at the beginning of next season, that's for sure. But it's okay. Hey, I would way rather the Cowboys go celebrate in New Orleans than Las Vegas any year. So
right, I'm here for you,
Super
man.
Bowl
That's all I'm
licks,
gonna
here
say.
we come.
We're gonna be here.
I'm here for you,
Johnny.
Brian.
Man, we're gonna need the
All
big
right.
broad shoulders
Whatever.
out.
Hey,
Brian.
hey, Brett, have
Oh,
the
hanging
tissue on
Judge
standby.
Davis.
All right.
From Friday's big number,
thank
man.
You, thank you. Thank you. All right, let me set up today's show before we get to top and not top story of the day. We're going to talk a ton about the Super Bowl today, and we're going to focus on that in our next segment at 3:30. 3:45, we're going to talk about the Tigers. A big win for them yesterday over Tulane in the revenge game to kind of kick off your Sunday before the Super Bowl. 4 o'clock, David Cobb from CBS Sports will join us to talk college football and college basketball. 4:30, Shelby Mass from BracketWag.com will join us. We'll talk bracketology with him as he's got the Tigers back on the right side of the bubble in his most recent updated bracket. 4:45, we'll get to big number of the day. 5 o'clock, DeMichael Cole, the Grizzlies beat writer for the Commercial Appeal. He'll join us, talk Grizzlies. We'll have to get his thoughts on what happened at the trade deadline last week.
And he is the grand prize winner, splitting it with
Sure
Blake
is.
Lovell on Super Bowl picking.
How about that? Good picking from
3 points
DeMichael.
off. They both picked 24-20,
Wow.
Kansas City.
Wow. So really good picking from DeMichael Cole and also Blake Lovell, who we'll talk to later this week. 5:30, we'll get to what's trending. At 5:45, we'll wrap up today's show like we always do with Taco Bell Crunch Time. Let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together, and get over there for the floor model sale. All floor model patio sets are priced to move. Wicker sofa set under $2,000. Closeout patio cushions as low as $25. Pool tables under $1,500. Theater seating under $2,000. 4-person hot tubs under $5,000. Infrared and traditional steam saunas 25% off. Get ready for summer and purchase your above ground pool right now to get first in line for installation. You can still take advantage of the special financing. It's still available at Family Leisure, 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40.
This hour of our show brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Give them a call at 901-334-9673. The one and only Lexus dealership in town with great offers on all 2024 models and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2024 flagship LS500. You'll be looking and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day has got to be the Chiefs winning again. Another Super Bowl for them, back-to-back Super Bowl champs, and now they have the opportunity to make it 3 straight next year in New Orleans. Really a fun game. I think got a little bit of everything. The first half, you get turnovers and punts and field goals, and then the second half, you get touchdowns, and then on top of that, for the icing on the cake, you get overtime and a new overtime, where the whole time everyone was trying to figure out the rules. Nobody knew what was happening. Nobody knew. People were asking, so if the clock runs out, even though both get a chance, does the clock matter here? Or do we keep playing? If it hits 0, do we stop?
It was total cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Nobody knew. Not only we had everything, Bryant, had a great player shred his Achilles running on the field.
Goodness, unbelievable. Just trying to get back out there on defense and out for the rest of the game. And sounds like a bad injury for Greenlaw.
Important piece, too.
Super important piece.
He would have been covering that McCole Hardman out in the flat play.
No, you're right. And, that was a huge loss early in the game. So I thought a really, really great Super Bowl last night. Really fun from start to finish. We also got a streaker during the game that CBS refused to show because they think
the streaker.
If you show the streaker, that will encourage more people to streak, whatever. But it was a really, really fun Super Bowl and really just all around, I thought so much fun. And then you get on top of that, players after the game saying they didn't know if the overtime rules, how they worked. I thought that was fun. And then one thing I heard last night, I was driving home listening to Westwood One's post-game show right here on this station, and they told a story about how Andy Reid texted Antonio Pierce last week, 2 weeks ago, congratulating him on being named the permanent head coach for the Raiders and also thanked him for giving his team a kick in the rear on Christmas Day. If you remember, the Chiefs lost to the Raiders 20-14 in the first game of the day on Christmas. That was the team's 4th loss in their last 6 games. It became their last loss of the season. They won out the rest of the regular season, which was only a couple of games, and then obviously now last man standing after the playoffs. So really, really cool story there that I heard on the postgame show.
Andy Reid, man, wow. You talk strolling into Canton.
Crazy.
They're going to bring him in on a chariot.
Incredible.
Now. That's my top story. Super Bowl 58 in the history books, and it turned into a classic, second overtime in Super Bowl history, with Patrick Mahomes now established as one of the legends of the game. I think he's in a two-man club with Tom Brady. Like for a long time, Tiger Woods was in a two-man club with Jack Nicklaus. There was once a time that I thought Tiger was going to win 25 majors, easy 20. And then you know what happened? Life happened.
Yep.
And I hope nothing bad happens for Patrick Mahomes. I hope he gets to play free and clear, but things can happen.
Sure.
It's hard to know if he's going to get more. It feels like he should, but in the ultimate team sport, unlike for Tiger, he's got to rely on other people.
Yeah, he absolutely does.
Not top story of the day.
Well, my not top story of the day is what the Tigers did yesterday. Kind of your appetizer for the Super Bowl in some sense. A 1 p.m. tip-off here at FedEx Forum. A 90-78 victory over Tulane, and it really never felt that close. The Tigers got up early and really kind of stayed consistent. Shot 46% from the field, almost 38% from 3. Tied rebounds with Tulane, which I know rebounding an issue that a lot of people were talking about, but a win that the Tigers really needed after what has been the start of conference play and really these struggles. You go out tempo, you get up by 20 points, a little more than 20 points, and then they come back, make it a close game, and it's a little scary down the stretch. You really needed a game like this where it seemed pretty easy most of the way. I also thought Jordan Brown, 16 minutes off the bench for him, 7 points, 3 rebounds, looked good while he was out there, and maybe we see more of him going down the stretch after really limited play since returning to the team.
Modern health miracle. We should celebrate it, shouldn't we? My not top story, Brock Purdy, sadly, was just pretty good. He had to be great, but he wasn't. He did get a team to overtime in a Super Bowl, though, as a second-year starter, and that's really good. Let's have this same passion and level of criticism and critiquing of Brock Purdy for Josh Allen, for Tua Tagovailoa, for Lamar Jackson, for Dak Prescott. None have ever been this close. Jared Goff's been to a Super Bowl, but he lost. Matt Stafford's won a Super Bowl. For me going forward, you give me one of these two guys, and I'll be happy with them. Patrick Mahomes, I think everybody shares that.
Yeah.
And give me Jordan Love.
Jordan Love. I mean, really good season for him his rookie year. I remember when you brought those numbers.
The Packers and Lions have to be sick to death.
Yeah.
It could be parades being planned in Detroit and Green Bay this week.
Yeah, no, it absolutely could, but a really, really fun Super Bowl. That'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's go ahead and grab our first break of the day. When we come back, we'll stick with the topic that we've talked about most of this first segment. We'll talk Super Bowl next.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Join the Heindel Center for the Performing Arts for an evening with Cal Ripken Jr. February 22nd and celebrate a true champion. Ironman Cal Ripken Jr. played 2,632 consecutive games for the Baltimore Orioles. This 19-time All-Star, 2-time American League MVP, and Baseball Hall of Fame inductee is a true baseball icon. Get tickets at HeindelCenter.org to see Cal Ripken Jr. 7:30 p.m. Thursday, February 22nd at the Heindel Center for the Performing Arts on the campus of Northwest Mississippi Community College in Senatobia.
36,000, the number of businesses which have upgraded to the #1 cloud financial system, NetSuite by Oracle. 25. NetSuite just turned 25. That's 25 years of helping businesses streamline their finances and reduce costs, because your unique business deserves a customized solution. That's NetSuite. Learn more when you download NetSuite's popular Key Performance Indicators checklist absolutely free at netsuite.com/herd, netsuite.com/herd.
Hi, this is Lauren Choate with Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing. Our mission, to exceed your expectations, provide quality service with urgency, and be there for when you need us most. There is nothing more frustrating than a clogged drain, shower, kitchen, or toilet. They disrupt your life. But don't worry, Choate's is here to get those drains flowing again. With the latest tools, technology, and expert professionals, we're ready to tackle any clog, anytime. We also believe in the power of preventative maintenance, and now is the time to be proactive with Choate's $93 drain inspection. This special offer includes a camera inspection of your sewer with a full assessment of your drainage system. That's a $199 value now for only $93 this month. Give your family the peace of mind they deserve and prevent those unwanted clogs. Call us today at 347-8086 to schedule your $93 drain inspection. And remember, Choate's, let our family serve your family.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-254-5040. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-254-5040 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-254-5040 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-254-5040.
Join us celebrating 26 years of Napa Cafe. Hi, I'm Glenda Hastings, owner of Napa Cafe, and I'm inviting you over for dinner. Treat yourself tonight with a delightful dinner of scrumptious combinations, fresh salads, homemade soups, or maybe start with an appetizer, like our baked Dungeness crab dip with manchego cheese, lemon, garlic, and French baguette toast. Drift into one of our fresh seafood dishes, like the caramelized sea scallops with curry beurre blanc, black forbidden rice, and Thai mango salad. Or our ancho honey glazed salmon with creamy black bean puree, avocado pico de gallo, and jalapeno crema. Maybe you're looking for something cozy and comforting, like our Duroc pork chop with apple brandy demi-glaze and blue cheese bacon mashed potatoes. We have something for everyone. Napa Cafe, open Wednesday through Saturday for dinner starting at 5 o'clock. For reservations, visit our website at napacafe.com. Come join us as we celebrate 26 years of Napa Cafe. I'd sure love to see you.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. They continue to move some things around over there in the construction zone on 55 near Crump. It's been a little bit busy today with some volume on 55 south across the bridge coming over from West Memphis as that traffic builds down through the Midtown area on 240 south as you pass South Parkway down to Norris. Just give yourself a little bit of extra time out here. Weimer's Jewelry 7525 Highway 64 is your Valentine's Day headquarters. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
So we talked a lot in the first segment about the Super Bowl, and we're going to stick right there. I really did not know what to expect. I hoped that it would be a great game leading up to it, but I think I more expected it to be maybe not a super high-scoring game, in a sense, but I thought both offenses would shine, even though, just kind of be in kind of that mid-20s. I did not expect it to start off as a defensive battle, and that's exactly what we got. A couple turnovers, a lot of punts, some field goals, 0-0 at the end of one quarter. And then we kind of got into some field goals, a touchdown here. I mean, I really thought whether you like defenses, whether you like offenses, I think you got both of them last night in this game.
I think the 0-0 after the first quarter was 5-1, and you said it was 11-1. You told me earlier today it was 11-1 on overtime.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, and supposedly I heard Greg and Eli were talking about this earlier today, that was one of the most bet prop bets for the Super Bowl, is that the game would go to overtime, and it was 11-1, and that supposedly Vegas took a big hit with their bets. We know that San Francisco was a favorite going into the night, and they never swayed from that. The overtime was a big one, and then there was a third one. It might have been the total, because I think when it closed, it went over, and so that
closed
might have been
at 46.5.
Right, and so I think that might have been the third one. But they were talking about three bets that were like a lot of money on those three bets that ended up getting Vegas, and that it was not a good night for Vegas.
When Vegas posted that number of 47.5 on Sunday night after the championship games, it stuck rock solid. Yeah. Until Saturday. A friend of mine, a girlfriend buddy of mine, and she bet the under 48 on Saturday at a casino in West Virginia.
How about that? That's gaming right there, Brad.
It is gaming.
Casino in West Virginia.
And yesterday it went down to 46.5.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. So
they had that number pegged pretty well. And they had the game number. A lot of people were surprised that San Francisco is favorite. If it holds at 22-19, they win and they cover, but they didn't. Don't feel too sorry for Vegas and maybe they're losing, because just imagine what they made at the slots and at the table games last week at all the joints, with everybody in town.
Oh, yeah. It might not have been a good night for the books, but Vegas in general and those casinos, it was a very, very good week for them, not even just a day.
Don't weep for Vegas.
No, not at all. It was a very, very good week.
Because they giving away steak and crab meat right now.
No. And on top of
yes,
that,
they
you
They're
have
getting
all
a lot of
the live golfers were in town for their live golf event. So you got one big sporting event and then live.
Yeah, you play enough, they'll give away complimentary golf.
They will. They absolutely will. Probably at the same golf course that Liv played at this weekend. We did not talk in that first segment about Juwan Jennings and the game he had. I know a lot of people I saw on social media, a lot of Tennessee fans, just for the heck of it, threw a little cash on Juwan Jennings to win MVP. For a while there, I mean, after he throws for a touchdown,
he did that in college,
catches a touchdown, it looked pretty good that maybe Juwan Jennings, if the 49ers won that game, would have been the MVP.
I think he would have been. A strong case could have been made, but he couldn't get to him in the second half of Joey Bosa.
Yeah, no, it really could have been Joey Bosa.
Fred Warner.
Yeah, Fred Warner's another one. But, man, Juwan Jennings to go out there, one pass for a touchdown, 21 yards, have another receiving touchdown. Pretty good night for a lot of 49er players.
Good night for seventh-round draft picks. Purdy speaks for himself. Mm-hmm. Jennings, 7th round. Pacheco, 7th round.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's – Those guys were,
watch Mel Kiper on that second day is what I'm saying.
Oh, and Brad, I might have a Mel Kiper what I learned today, so maybe keep that
in your, really?
Maybe keep that in
your
Man,
I've teased, but
Brad,
I've walked into both of them, the punters.
I don't want to show all my cards, but I may or may not have Mel Kiper as my what I learned today. I'm just saying.
I enjoyed today. Halftime was fine, enjoyable. I had y'all cracking up earlier. My favorite part was Ludacris.
I mean, hey, I also got very excited when I saw Ludacris come out. So
for old time's sake, Ludacris comes out and shakes it up.
And see,
so where are we on Super Bowls? I mean, going forward, because in the concert business. Mm-hmm. And don't feel too sorry for James Dolan, who owns the Sphere, for what he's made just off the New York Knicks. But going forward, we know stadium shows. It's just hard.
Sure.
That Stone, Springsteen, even U2, the big stadium show act, it's all scaled down to arena shows, about the size of FedEx Forum. If you had to pick next year's halftime act in New Orleans, what would you go with? I wouldn't begin to know where to start.
I don't know,
because a lot of it is not of my vintage. My vintage is over. Mine all has artificial. I mean, Jagger could lose a hip if he went out there.
That is unfortunately true. I don't know. I know some people were saying that maybe like Lil Wayne, because he's from New Orleans, could be a good halftime.
Oh, that makes sense.
Hey, my auntie said the same thing what you said, Brian. She said
Lil Wayne. I like Lil Wayne.
I saw Coach Prime lobbying for
Coach
Lil
Prime
Wayne.
is one that I saw on social media. I would like that. I just don't know. I never know what direction they're going to go with for Super Bowl. I certainly did not think Usher was in the cards for this year. I don't even remember who did it last year. Was last year 50 Cent or was that the year before?
I don't remember.
That wasn't 50 Cent.
No, because 50 Cent was Rams.
Was the Rams one?
Yeah,
in LA. But the biggest miss. I mean, you only turn 50 once. Super Bowl 50. Wow. Coldplay.
Wow.
Huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Coldplay.
Foghat was booked. I mean,
Coldplay. I don't know if I like him enough for Super Bowl halftime.
Kansas not playing casinos anymore.
I do love Kansas.
You have Coldplay. I like Kansas too, but it was all vintage 78, 79, 80.
No, that is very true. But no, I mean, I couldn't even guess what they did. I didn't even get to see the halftime show. I listened to it. I was driving, so I was listening to it while Melinda had my phone and was watching it. Sounded good. I heard he got on roller skates. So
he did.
That was
and survived.
I
would have ended up right off that stage if I'd gotten on roller skates.
Well, y'all know what I did on Friday.
Right over the edge, Johnny.
I went ice skating on Friday, so I was
good for you. Where?
Learning at the Mid-South Ice House down in Mississippi. So
obviously you know how.
How did
you
do?
On ice skates. I'm afraid I'd be at the orthopedist by
you and me
2
both.
hours.
Yeah. You and me both, Brett.
They checked me in. What's broken? Everything.
Everything. Yeah. No.
Check me out.
It was interesting. We learned how to ice skate. They have like the little things you can purchase that are like walkers almost.
Yeah. You wasn't doing like triple Lutzes, were you?
No. Just casually going around the rink. But
you didn't go full Pine Batano on us, did you?
No. I was just kind of skating around, enjoying it. I had to buy one, get one free. So, but that's what when I saw when I saw Usher out there roller skating, I thought back to my ice skating. Said, well, if I can ice skate, if I learn how to ice skate, I'll be fine on roller skates.
I told y'all last week that I didn't really know of his songs, but I heard some yesterday.
Sure, yeah.
I knew I'd heard them and things. But I remember in the day Usher on my favorite TV show.
Really? What TV show?
On The Young and the Restless.
Really?
Yeah. I can't remember his role, but he was on it
I did not know
as
he was
a
on
young
there.
performer. Yeah.
Really?
I can't remember the role. I wonder if anybody now appearing in the role. I hate it when they do that and they roll out that new cast member.
Interesting. I had no idea that he had such an acting career before.
You did know my affinity for The Young and the Restless.
Yes. No, I know your affinity for soap operas, Brett. Big soap opera guy.
Well, just two. Young and the Restless at 11 and Bold and Beautiful at 12:30.
Okay, well, hey, and they go.
I love it, Brett.
Go off right back to back. So that's perfect for you. But no, I thought a really, really good Super Bowl, start to finish. Halftime show was good, and the game certainly lived up to how good of a night. It was a really good game.
It always does, and as far as Nance and Romo, the predictable outrage out there about any announcer you could put out there. Have you heard Kevin Harlan's call of the winning touchdown? It's
sure
great.
It's great, yeah.
And I'm not accusing him of anything, but you can hear some of that. I was once the Chiefs announcer, vim and vigor in it. You can. I think I can.
Sure, but hey.
But you can hear anything you want to hear.
But and for him, if I'm sure that does feel good to be the have that past of being the Chiefs local play-by-play guy and now doing national and seeing that same team win back-to-back Super Bowls. I mean, that's got to be unbelievable. But a really good night in Las Vegas nonetheless. But we need to get to a break. We had another game that is certainly big here locally yesterday. Tigers back in action at home against Tulane, a team they lost to a couple weeks ago, but they get a big win yesterday at FedEx Forum. We'll talk about what happened inside FedEx Forum yesterday. We'll do that next.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Memphis, get loud for your Memphis Grizzlies when they face off against the New Orleans Pelicans tonight at 7 p.m. presented by Big River Steel. Arrive early. First 5,000 will receive a Derrick Rose travel chess set. Get ready for a star-studded show by securing your tickets at Grizzlies.com.
Chris Price, it's so good to see you. And you have a new business?
Yes, Dave. MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Have you noticed water stains on your ceiling? With storm season here, take a walk around your home or business and look up. Make sure there are no water stains signaling a leak prior to the heavy storms coming in. If you do see signs of water, call me. My team and I will come out, diagnose the problem, and prescribe a fix. Our team of Hague-certified inspectors are waiting to assist with any inspection or repairs you may need. We have 3 crews dedicated to repairing roofs in the Mid-South. As certified Owens Corning and Mule High dealers, we offer 20-year, no-dollar limit labor and material warranties that offer hassle-free ownership. That's our hassle-free ownership guarantee. Allow Metro Builders team of professionals to assist you in maintaining your property's integrity and value. MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Your local commercial roof experts. Ask about our commercial roof maintenance agreements. Protect your investment with MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Call me. 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717. 375-1717.
Hi, it's The Herd. Get in on the action with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. New customers who deposit $5 or more can get a no-sweat bet up to $1,000 back in bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now, 90 seconds. Use the code HERD, H-E-R-D. New customers get a no-sweat bet up to $1,000 if your first bet loses. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. Code is HERD. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Or in West Virginia, visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. One no-sweat bet per new customer issued is one bonus bet based on amount of initial losing bet. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/promos for deposit, wagering, and eligibility restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources.
What does it feel like to file with TaxSlayer and get your guaranteed maximum refund? It feels like the last level of a video game, facing off against the final boss who stands between you and your refund.
All your refund is belong to me.
Using the power of TaxSlayer like a secret power-up he doesn't see coming.
Only the most tax-confident can defeat me.
Throwing your laptop at his video game face and watching him crumble into a giant pile of shiny coin tax refunds.
Oh, not fair. You use TaxSlayer.
Save up to 80% when you file with TaxSlayer. Start for free.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
It's a new year, and Family Leisure has a new way to bring family and fun together. All you have to do is walk into Family Leisure and look around. All those floor model patio sets you see, those have got to go. So Family Leisure can make room for all the new sets coming. Get a wicker sofa set for under $2,000. Pool tables under $1,500. Theater seating for under $2,000. Hot tubs for $4,000 or just for yourself. If you really want to lounge, they're under $5,000. Need patio cushions? Get them as low as $25. Oh, have you seen those infrared steam saunas? Well, now they and the traditional saunas are 25% off. It may just be the first few weeks of 2024, but that doesn't mean you can't start getting ready for summer. 2 final things. Purchase your above-ground pool now and get first in line for installation, and take advantage of special financing that's available. Family Leisure, Whitten Road and I-40, bringing the family and the fun back together.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
So we spent a lot of time talking about the Super Bowl last night. Really fun from start to finish. I thought a really, really good game. But a couple hours before that, over on ESPN2, the Tigers took on Tulane, a little bit of a revenge game after the Tigers lost on the road down in New Orleans against Tulane. But Tigers with a big win, I think a win that they really needed, 90-74, and in that first half, outscored Tulane 46-29. Just did not even seem like it was a game. Now, Tulane made some shots late, kind of in that second half, and kind of cut into that lead a little bit. But this is certainly the most comfortable win the Tigers have had probably since early December. I think that Virginia game, that now looking back on it, how did the Tigers win so easily against that Virginia team? But I think that was the most comfortable win the Tigers have had maybe since that Virginia win.
You could say that, and you hope it's something to build on. Mm-hmm. The losing streak is officially it is really over now. Yeah. I mean, when you've turned it into 3-game winning streak, well, that's what you have to talk about. Right. And now sets up this week when they go on a NBA type road trip to play at North Texas and at SMU. Got to split.
Got to.
Really need to win both, because for the turning it around from the losing streak, it hadn't reached a lot of the bracketology world, and it sure hadn't reached the net ranking world. Yeah. But a sweep this week, if we're talking next Monday about a 2-0 Tiger week, the season has been saved.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we kind of talked last week about, how kind of Tigers seem, for whatever reason, to especially under Penny Hardaway, to kind of figure it out in February, have much better Februaries than they did Januaries, and it's starting to look like that might be the case again this year with what they've done in these first 2 games. Now you got to continue it. These are going to be 2 tough road games against a North Texas team that kind of has that mentality of, we don't really care what we do offensively. We're just going to beat you down defensively. We are going to make this a struggle from the tip-off for you to score points, and that's just going to be how they play. That's going to be a tough game for this Tiger team if they can't get the offense rolling. SMU scared them in FedEx Forum a month ago, and probably should have won that game, honestly. And so, this is going to be a tough trip. But yes, you're talking completely different discussions. If the Tigers can come back here 2-0, I think you are much more hopeful about what the rest of the season can be and what postseason can be.
And thank goodness that for this league, because I think this league is really bad. At the top, I don't think USF's that good. I don't think Charlotte's that good, and now I'm worried about FAU, and I don't know how good SMU and UAB are, so that means I don't know how good the Tigers are. 10 through 14 in this league. 10 through 14 is Tulsa 10, Rice 11, Wichita State 12, Texas San Antonio 13, and Temple 14. That's as bad of a bottom 5 in a league as in any league out there.
Yeah, no, it's not great, especially at the bottom. And unfortunately, we just saw the Tigers kind of struggle against most of those teams that you just listed off in that bottom 5. And so it's just you cannot, and we talked about this before the season, you cannot lose these games. You cannot risk going on a losing streak like the Tigers went on, and now they're looking up and have a lot of work to do. But I do think one thing that kind of jumped out to me against Tulane is it looks like this rotation is getting a little bit tighter than what we saw during that losing streak, when it was just everybody get in there and we're just going to try to throw everything at the opposing team to try to get something to fix.
Did you watch any of College Game Day on Saturday when They were at Kansas. Did you see any of it?
I saw the first minute, and then something happened, and I was not able to get back to it.
Well, they did a segment where one of the questions to Seth Greenberg is analyze how you put roster composition in the modern times, and he was talking about how difficult it is with transfers and things like that, and it is. You have a lot of different agendas for a lot of different teams, but his bottom line was you get down to 7 guys.
Yep. Yeah, and you look around.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean, you look around, and most of these top 25 teams, most of the teams that are playing really well, they have 7 guys, 8 guys. That's it. You might see a guy get in there and get 1 minute, 2 minutes kind of in the late game when they're just, letting guys play. But most of these teams, their starters are playing about 27 to 34 minutes, and then 2 guys off the bench are coming in and getting maybe 10 minutes to kind of round out that group.
And the breaks in the NCAA tournament now are so long because of TV. You don't need a whole lot of recovery time, rest time for these breaks. I mean, guys can pull that 35, 36-minute slog if they have to. The best part of the conference schedule is coming up. These games this week have a lot of intrigue. Then only 3 games left at home against Charlotte, Florida Atlantic, and UAB. Hadn't seen 2 of those 3 teams anywhere in trying to avenge the loss to UAB. In front of the Tigers, and the Tigers are still sixth place in the AAC. They have 5 teams in front of them. Well, they lost to UAB, narrowly beat SMU, hadn't played FAU, hadn't played Charlotte, and blew a 20-point home lead to USF.
Yeah.
That's the teams in front of them, and that bunch behind them, even directly behind them, maybe North Texas, but even East Carolina and Tulane at 8 and 9. Those aren't good teams. And you'll beat Ron Hunter yesterday. Ron Hunter's now 69 and 67 at Tulane. And we practically around here have him made out to be Tom Izzo.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah. No, I mean, it has been a very weird year for this Tiger team. And, we talked about it, especially during that kind of losing stretch of you did not think at any point this year you would look up and the Tigers would be, 6th place, 7th place in this conference. Maybe, rankings get funny after, 6 teams played a
mid-February, 6th place.
Nobody thought you'd be this late into the season and look up and the Tigers would be 6th, 7th place. And, that's just where we are this year. And the Tigers have a whole lot of winning to do. And, a big road test. I think right now, currently, in terms of net, North Texas would be a quad 2 win. SMU would be a quad 1 win. Now, weekend was good for teams Memphis has played. A lot of wins for those groups. But Tigers got to do the winning themselves over these next couple weeks.
Yeah, at the net today, you always talk about teams kind of in front of you and behind you. You see Irvine in front of the Tigers at 74. At 76, Seton Hall. At 78, North Texas.
Yeah.
I mean, even with a road win Thursday night, it's not going to toggle you up too much.
No, it's not. But Brett, you talked about it last week. VCU had a big test against Dayton, and they got that win.
Friday night, good game.
Huge win for them. That bumped them up to a quad 1 win for the Tigers. There's one other team, I think Clemson got into quad 1 territory. So some things are going in the Tigers' favor. I think now they're sitting at 3-2 in quad 1. So a really, really good in terms of that. But they got to do winning themselves, that's for sure, and a huge week for them against North Texas and SMU, both on the road. Well, we need to wrap up our first hour and get to a break, and when we come back to start our second hour, we're going to talk some college football, talk some college basketball with David Cobb from CBS Sport.
East Memphis Ace Hardware is more than just a hardware store. It's really a customer service store. With 20 employees along with complete inventory of items, big to little, finding what you need is easy. Choosing from a complete selection of Big Green Egg as well as Traeger and Weber grills. And the Garden Center has everything for your yard. You can get glass cut, repair screens, even new keys with key fob programming. Tools, nuts, bolts, screws, you need it. East Memphis Ace Hardware has it. And they're just down the street at the corner of Quince and White Station.
Hey, this is Eli Savoy, and I've got a question for you. Who wants to pay full retail for a pre-owned car or truck when you can buy it at wholesale? Wholesale Unlimited on Pleasant View, right off Covington Pike, has an unlimited selection of super sharp pre-owned cars and trucks you can buy at the wholesale price. And right now, you can use your tax refund as all or part of a down payment and still just pay the wholesale price. Chevy Silverados, F-150s and Ram trucks, Tahoes, Explorers, Jeep Wranglers, Grand Cherokees, Renegades, a Cadillac SRX, Camaros, Mustang convertible, Hyundais. Check it out. Go to wucars.com or Google Wholesale Unlimited Memphis. This is great. Your money goes a long way when you can buy at the wholesale price, and tax refund time makes it even better. Go to Wholesale Unlimited on Pleasant View, just off Covington Pike, with guaranteed approval. Tell them you heard about it right here on Sports 56, and you can thank me later.
Shop, compare, and save from hundreds of experts to turn your dream home into a reality. We have everything to help you remodel, refresh, and beautify your home inside and out. So come on out to the Home Show of the Mid-South, February 16th through the 18th at the Agri Center. You'll find special show pricing on kitchens, baths, patios and landscaping, flooring, cabinets, windows, roofing. It's all at the Home Show of the Mid-South, February 16th through the 18th at the Agri Center. For more info, visit memphishomeshow.com. That's memphishomeshow.com.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your buddy Johnny Radio. I'm here with Mark, the owner of Dyer's, out in Collierville's historic town square, where they've been cooking up them burgers since 1912, the old-fashioned way. Mark, what's going on in life? I see you got your 4 kids with you. What do they love about Dyer's?
Man, they love everything about Dyer's. They love all the great food that we serve, and they really like eating our good food and watching some of their favorite sports.
Braden, what do you like at Dyer's?
I like a bacon burger with fries, a milkshake, and with a Tigers game in the background.
Carter, who's your favorite football team?
The Carolina Panthers, and just with some macaroni with that sounds amazing.
My man Beckham, what's your favorite food over at Dyer's?
We like the double cheeseballs.
Kinley, what is your favorite dish over at Dyer's?
Daddy's cheeseburgers and the Dallas Cowboys game in the background.
Just remember, everybody, bring your family, bring your friends, bring your team out and eat at our place.
So head on over to Dyer's in Collierville's historic town square.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. If you need a new roof for your home or business, we hope to hear from you and will work hard to earn your business. We are experts and certified in residential and commercial roofing, siding, and gutter installation. I have been serving the Memphis area for over 20 years, and now with 2 of my sons working with me, we plan to be here for years to come. So if you need a roof, please give us a call. On a personal note, what a great time it is to be a Memphis sports fan. With the Grizzlies and the Redbirds and 901 FC, not to mention Tigers football and basketball, it's going to be a fun year. Thanks to Coach Silverfield and Coach Hardaway and their staffs for their dedication to the student and athletes, the University of Memphis, the City of Memphis, and us fans. Five Ash Roof Services, a proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
We all appreciate luxury. We love the newest technology. We want something that sparkles and looks great. Well, I've got it all in one place. It's called Genesis of Olive Branch, right at the corner of Highway 78, that's Lamar, and the first exit in Mississippi, that's Craft Road. Turn left and you will see Genesis of Olive Branch. And right now, you can get the 2024 Genesis GV70 starting at $49,480 with special financing as low as 3.49% on select models. How about the 2024 Genesis GV80? A little bit bigger, starting at $55,995, financing as low as 5.49% with a $2,000 rebate when trading a luxury brand. Call them. They'll even bring you a Genesis at your work or your home for a test drive. They're convinced that when you drive a Genesis, you're going to want one. Call 662-890-6684. Ask for Vinny. Genesis of Olive Branch.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss Sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. I still have a little bit of extra time out here as it starts to crank up on Sam Cooper going outbound over here at Highland, and Perkins headed towards I-40. Once you get on I-40, that's still moving right now eastbound from Sycamore View Road all the way out into Fayette County as it gets a little bit busier also on 240, either getting on to 385 or continuing 240 east over here at Poplar. Hey, 24/7 reliable crane and rigging services right here in Memphis. It's got to be Tomahawk Crane and Rigging. Check them out at tomahawkcrane.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Joining Brian and Brett now on Sports Time is National College Football writer for CBS Sports, Memphis native and Tennessee grad, who you can find on Twitter X at David W. Cobb. It's David Cobb.
David Cobb joins us now from CBS Sports like he does every Monday, talk college football and college basketball. But David, before we do that, how'd you enjoy the Super Bowl last night? You have a fun night?
It was a great game. Well, the first half wasn't great. But
if you bet on punts, it was a great first half there. It was great.
I missed that opportunity. Yeah, I missed the coin flip, whatever. The length of the national anthem. I didn't have any action on any of that stuff. So to me, the show was the game. I watched the halftime show, and my wife certainly enjoyed all the cuts to Taylor Swift. And in the end, the game was really great too. It delivered, and it was weird the fact that the first ever postseason overtime game with that format was the Super Bowl because nobody knew what was going on.
Nobody.
Including some of the participants in the game itself, which was a weird, bizarre kind of wrinkle. And anyway, I guess in the end, the lesson is if you think it's going to be a close game, which it was, don't bet against Pat Mahomes.
Yeah. Which one do you prefer, the college football overtime or that yesterday or what the NFL uses in the regular season?
I actually like the college overtime because both teams get a fair chance. Like you can say that in college, the team that gets the ball second has the advantage because they know what they need to do. But my understanding about that NFL format last night was that after both teams had a possession, it was then going to revert to sudden death where the first score would have won the game, which in the end, even if both teams have had a possession, it still favors the team that got the football first. So that's why I was a little confused about why there was such controversy over who got the ball first. Because it's like, I don't know that you necessarily want it second. Because if you get it second and then all you do is tie the game, then the next team can win. The other team can win the game. When they get the football back.
Tennessee Vols almost had the second MVP in Tennessee volunteer football history to Peyton Manning. Bryant said it earlier. I think he's right. I'm pretty sure he's right. Juwan Jennings would have won it.
No doubt. One of the only players in Super Bowl history to throw for a touchdown and catch one. Dude, that guy is a competitor, and nobody thought he was going to stick in the NFL. I mean, Tennessee people did because they saw who he was for so long, and they saw that will and that competitive drive. He is a guy with a lot of Memphis ties, too. He actually grew up in the Memphis suburbs in like Germantown and Arlington, playing middle school and freshman ball, and then he moved to Murfreesboro and was a high school quarterback. I think it was Blackman in Murfreesboro, and a really good one too. And then he got to Tennessee, and there was a log jam because that was around the time under Butch when they had Riley Ferguson and Josh Dobbs, and like those guys could hardly touch the field behind Nathan Peterman and Justin Worley, and so they moved Jennings to receiver. And that was the best that ever happened to him because I know the guy doesn't run a 4.4, but he is such a competitor. He's so physical. He's so tough. He blocks better than most tight ends do. And it's just not surprising, even though he didn't rate off the charts at the Combine a few years ago, to see that guy having a home in the NFL and being an impact player. It's just who he is. And a tremendous testament to that competitive drive and that willpower that Tennessee fans saw for so long.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun to watch what he was doing last night. Well, David, I know we want to talk college basketball, big weekend in college basketball, but I do, before we do that, since we're talking about football, I'm curious your thoughts over the weekend. Ohio State hired UCLA's Chip Kelly to be their offensive coordinator after Bill O'Brien took the head coaching job at Boston College. What do you make of this move for Ohio State? I mean, everyone was really excited about Bill O'Brien, but now you get Chip Kelly just coming off being the head coach of UCLA.
Yeah, no doubt. It's a shocker to see now a Big Ten coach leave for a Big Ten offensive coordinator job.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Wow.
Let's put an SEC parallel on that. It would be the equivalent of the head coach at Arkansas leaving to be the offensive coordinator for Georgia. I mean, that's what we're talking about here. A low to mid-tier Big
Wait,
Ten.
that might really happen.
Well, you never
With Sam
know.
Pittman, no, I kid.
Sam Pittman, it could. He could go and be their. Heck, he might leave to be their O-line coach again. But still, with the name of the cachet of Chip Kelly, but it makes sense because he was kind of up against the clock now at UCLA. They almost fired him this past season.
Lucky to survive.
Indeed, and now he's looking at, hey, I got to go win in the Big Ten. You don't have Dorian Thompson-Robinson at quarterback anymore. The Dante Moore experiment failed. So he's looking at his roster and his schedule at UCLA, and then he's looking at that Ohio State roster and that Ohio State schedule and all the pieces that Ohio State has on defense. He's saying, they're probably going to run me out of town in late November here at UCLA, but I can go and restart the clock and not have to deal with recruiting, not have to fool with NIL, and go be the OC at Ohio State. So I get it. I mean, it's just still kind of one of those things that when it happens and you see it, it blows your mind a little bit.
David, if I set the number at 1.5 from now until opening game, we will have 1.5 more changes in power conferences in college football. How would you go?
I'll go under. I'll go under on the 1.5 because I think, knock on wood, I don't know that there's many dominoes left to fall at this point. I don't know of many other head coaches that are openly shopping themselves on the NFL coordinator market like Chip Kelly was, like Jeff Hafley was. I mean, Chip Kelly would have probably preferred to have gone to the NFL. Now that the NFL carousel is starting to slow down a little bit, it seems unlikely to me that we're going to have a lot more movement. But heck, I thought the carousel would be done by now too. And there's just every move that's been made has really had a lot of impacts to come with it. And I mean, I guess you know what? There could be a wild card here. What if? Hear me out. This is probably not going to happen, but what if Kalen DeBoer decided, you know what? I need to go make a splash hire at offensive coordinator myself. Might he look to poach a sitting head coach from a Big 12 or an ACC team? What if Dave Clawson from Wake Forest got a call from Kalen DeBoer to go be the offensive coordinator? I don't think he would do it, right? But in this era, those are moves that you have to consider as a potential possibility.
David, I think it'd be low stakes, but I think I would bet the over, and sadly for me to hit, it would take somebody some real calamity and probably summertime scandal. I would take one coach to get to my over 1.5 that just maybe see something to make that move, like we've seen with the Boston College coach and with the UCLA coach. I would bet on another one. Just I'm fried. I was fried at the end of the year. I was fried at the bowl game. I was fried after spring. When May hits, I'm not doing it. I'm out of here. Bob Stoops quit at that time, and I don't know if he was fried, but he was done enough to quit at that time. And then I would go one more. I don't know if I'd bet 2.5, but I sure would bet 1.5. I would go one more with just good old garden variety scandal of somebody getting on a motorcycle.
Well, sure. I mean, and you just never know what Deion Sanders is going to do next. He had a tweet not too long after the UCLA job opened that almost suggested his interest in that job, right? So you never know if maybe a media entity or some sort of front office position in the NFL, or you just never know with Dion, right? Like what he's interested in or what might float his boat. So he's always going to be a wild card. It could happen. There's just so many dynamics that are changing in the college football coaching realm right now. And even if this carousel ends up being a little quieter, I think in the years to come, we're going to see just a fairly significant exodus from the profession. And this was a loud carousel, by the way. I mean, quieter in the sense of like it being done now. But yeah, in the years to come, I don't think this is going to slow down really at all, because college coaches, there's so much that's being asked of them. And I think the looming employment status of the players, once the universities are tasked with paying the players directly, that's going to cut into the salary pool that has been paying the coaches. And so the era of rising salaries, I think, is coming to an end in college football, because the day is coming quite soon when the player salaries are going to come from the universities and the athletic departments. And that means that the coaching salaries are going to stop rising and maybe even begin declining.
Wow. Yeah. I'm talking to David Cobb. He joins us every single Monday from CBS Sports, talk college football and college basketball. Busy weekend in college basketball, but I want to start off with the Tigers. They win again yesterday over Tulane, kind of a revenge game after they lost down in New Orleans a couple weeks ago. But that's 3 straight wins for the Tigers now. I know Jerry Palms over at CBS Sports acknowledged that today in his latest bracketology bubble watch. Still some work to do. I think he moved them up to first 4 out, the last team in the first 4 out. What do the Tigers, in your opinion, have to do this week? 2 big road games at North Texas, at SMU. Does 1-1 do anything? Do they need to go down there and sweep and go 2-0 before returning to home and playing Charlotte?
I think you got to go 2-0. They're just so firmly on the bubble that 1-1, even though North Texas is on the cusp of being a quad 1, and I believe Southern Miss would be a quad 1 or will be a quad 1 based on the net ranking.
Yeah,
and North
SMU
Texas
is quad 1 right now at least.
Yeah, and North Texas is close, but kind of wishy-washy there. It's if North Texas, if you lose to North Texas and North Texas jumps up in the rankings, then I guess it is a quad 1 loss, because beating Memphis would probably help them. But you got to win too. I mean, if nothing else, it's the perception at this point that Memphis is fighting against. And if you continue to add losses, the perception of what you are and who you are becomes further diminished. I mean, I hear a lot of people out there arguing and making the case that in this era where teams are often not fully formed until February or March, that we should begin weighting what you did in the second half of the season above what you did in the first half of the season. And if we get to that point, that's a disaster for Memphis. Because the Memphis resume at this moment hinges almost entirely on what was accomplished in November and December. And if the NCAA Tournament Selection Committee is weighting recent results more than they are what happened in November and December, then that's bad for Memphis. And it suggests to me that you need to win both these games this week. And I'll put it this way: let's say North Texas, SMU in 2 games against FAU, right? I think you got to win 3 out of 4. So, okay, sure, maybe you go 1-1 this week, but then I don't think you can also go 1-1 against FAU and expect to be in. So that's probably how I would classify it. They got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 regular season games left. I mean, 5-2 maybe, but I think 6-1 is what gets you into the AAC tournament feeling at least decent about your chances of an at-large.
David, your colleague Jerry Palm, that will join Greg and Eli tomorrow morning, as he always does during college football and college basketball, he has 2 from the AAC. Has FAU as a 7 seed playing Northwestern. That's a really tough game. And then he has as a 13 seed South Florida playing Illinois. So 2 from the AAC. What's a worse look for the Tigers? If the AAC is a 1-bid league and you're not it, or it's a 2-bid league and you're not it?
Yeah, I think if you had asked anybody before the season, who would be the two teams from the AAC that are going to make the NCAA tournament, everyone would have said FAU and Memphis. So if that other team ends up being a squad like South Florida or a squad like Charlotte or a squad like SMU, all of whom are far earlier on in the tenures of their coaches, then it is a pretty rough look. Think about South Florida and the depths of despair they've been in over the past several years, and Charlotte as well. I mean, they just today removed the interim tag from their coach after their coach left to go be an assistant at Virginia in like June of this last year, and left Charlotte's athletic director with no choice but to promote Aaron Fern to interim head coach, and he's done an incredible job. And then Rob Lanier at SMU has done great, and UAB's coming on strong. So the league has actually been better than I expected it to be. And you got Memphis sitting in there kind of in the middle of the pack. And thankfully they did that work in the non-con. But as bad as it is for the Tigers that they've struggled in the league, they're bailed out by the fact that the conference has been stronger than expected. I don't know what the tally is, but they got probably 5 or 6 teams in the top 100 of the net, which I didn't necessarily expect. So it's a credit to the other teams in the conference that Memphis still has a shot at this thing, because we're talking about a scenario here where Memphis finishes with 5 or 6 conference losses. And before the season, if you told me that Memphis would lose 5 or 6 league games and still have a shot at an at-large bid, I would have told you were crazy. And now here we are, with that being a possibility.
Yeah. But do you think this is a good league? Because, David, I don't. I think it's down there around 9th or 10th. How good do you think it is?
I mean, it's better than I thought it would be. But I didn't think it was going to be very good because of the fact you were losing Houston and Cincinnati and UCF. And I was skeptical about FAU. They've not been elite, but they've been NCAA tournament caliber. And then these other teams are just so random. Nobody had any reason to expect South Florida or Charlotte to be any good, right? And North Texas, losing Grant McCaslin, you figured it would take them a minute to bounce back, but they've been pretty strong. So no, it's not a good league. It's not like the Mountain West out here, like as a non-power conference that is legitimately a strong league, but it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I mean, I really didn't think the AAC was going to be anything in basketball this year, and it's been decent. It's been competitive with the A-10 and the Missouri Valley and some of these other more proud mid-major type of conferences.
Yeah. One of the big games over the weekend in college basketball, Kentucky and Gonzaga, a rare non-conference game in the middle of February at Rupp Arena. And for Gonzaga, I believe first quad 1 win of the season for them on the road at Rupp. They get a big win. They're still, Jerry Palm has them outside looking in, part of the first 4 out. He has Kentucky on the 7 line. What was your biggest takeaway from that game? And for Kentucky, have lost now I think 3 straight at home. Young team battling with some injuries, but what do you make of these two teams right now as we are getting to about the halfway point of February?
Yeah, I think Kentucky's defense is borderline irreparable at this point. Gonzaga made 4 3-pointers in the entire game, including 1 in the second half.
They worked the post like they had the playbook.
Yes, in Kentucky at some point in the second half, I had to acknowledge that this team was not going to make any outside shots against them and pack it in the paint. And maybe they tried that, but they were still getting beat off the dribble, and they got kind of manhandled a little bit by Graham Ike and Anton Watson and some of these bigger, older dudes who were just taking Kentucky's defenders one-on-one. And that's been Kentucky's problem now for several weeks, is the one-on-one defense is just sorely lacking. And when you're still getting beat one-on-one on a night when your opponent is making nothing from beyond the arc, that's really concerning, because it just says that teams can take you down to the post or do whatever they want against you with any number of favorable one-on-one matchups, and that makes it really difficult to put in a game plan. Kentucky can score with the best of them. I mean, they might end up as one of the highest-scoring teams in college basketball over the last 5 years, but it's not going to matter if they can't stop anyone. So I know Trey Mitchell was out, but I'm not buying that excuses Kentucky's loss, because no other team in the country, when they have a starting front court player like Trey Mitchell out, has 3 7-footers that they can throw out there instead. I mean, They got Aaron Bradshaw, 5-star center. They got Big Z, who was a revelation a couple weeks ago, right? And then and then you got Onyenso, who's one of the best shot blockers in college basketball. So Trey Mitchell being out doesn't register with me as an excuse for Kentucky to lose at home against an unranked team.
And another bad look week for John Calipari. He did appear on the post-game radio shows with Tom Leach after both losses, but he didn't today. He sent Orlando Antigua out there to appear before the local media today. He makes way too much money during this tough stretch for him not to be out there and stand up and take the questions.
Yeah, if I were Orlando Antigua, I'd say, Cal, really? Like, you want me to go? You want me to go out there and answer for this? What? Why? I would politely decline that request from my boss if I were in that position. Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, what's he ducking, right? I mean, I know, he should know by now the way things are at Kentucky and the criticism that you face, and it's just part of it, and you got a job to do. And so part of that job is talking to the media and trying to explain, what's going on in your program. Yeah. And I don't know. I think what it comes down to is he doesn't have a lot of answers right now, and when you don't have any answers, it can be difficult to face the music. And they're still safely in the NCAA tournament. Kentucky is, but it's not looking good. It's not looking like it was in early January when they were a projected 2 seed, and everybody was saying that this was like their mid-2000s types of squad.
The comeback year.
Yeah, but they're still dangerous. They can score with anybody. I don't know what the defensive remedy is, or if there is one. But they've got to try zone, try some full court press, trapping, just mix it up. I mean, they've got really good depth, and if you're gonna play 8 or 9 guys, maybe even 10 guys, if they put Burks out there some, then use that to your advantage and press and try and trap and use your athleticism and the fresh legs that you can bring off the bench to your benefit, and maybe wear some teams down in the second half. They got to get creative. They got to try something different defensively.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. And Jerry Palm has Kentucky right now, first round, seeing 10-seed Indiana State, who made their first appearance in the top 25, and that would not be an easy cakewalk
in Indianapolis.
In Indianapolis, that would be that'd be a tough first game for John Calipari.
It would. That'd be a lot of fun. That Indiana State team is a great story. They run some really good offense. It's probably that program's best team since Larry Bird came through there.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. Well, David, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll do it again next week.
All right, fellas. I appreciate it.
Thanks, David. David Cobb from CBS Sports. He joins us every single Monday, talk college football and college basketball. We need to get to a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk some more college basketball, but we're going to get to the brackets. We're talking bracketology with Shelby Mass from BracketWag.com.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdinger's. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger's, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
Did you know some ordinary cold medicines can raise your blood pressure? That's alarming. Fortunately, there's Vicks NyQuil High Blood Pressure. It's specially formulated without alcohol, sugar, or decongestants to provide fast, powerful nighttime colds and flu symptoms relief for people with high blood pressure. So if you have high blood pressure, try NyQuil High Blood Pressure. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, colds, and flu for people with high blood pressure medicine. Use as directed and keep out of reach of children.
Chris Price, it's so good to see you. And you have a new business?
Yes, Dave. MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Have you noticed water stains on your ceiling? With storm season here, take a walk around your home or business and look up. Make sure there are no water stains signaling a leak prior to the heavy storms coming in. If you do see signs of water, call me. My team and I will come out, diagnose the problem, and prescribe a fix. Our team of Hague-certified inspectors are waiting to assist with any inspection or repairs you may need. We have 3 crews dedicated to repairing roofs in the Mid-South. As certified Owens Corning and Mule High dealers, we offer 20-year no dollar limit labor and material warranties that offer hassle-free ownership. That's our hassle-free ownership guarantee. Allow Metro Builders team of professionals to assist you in maintaining your property's integrity and value. MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Your local commercial roof experts. Ask about our commercial roof maintenance agreements. Protect your investment with MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Call me, 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717. 375-1717.
It's leap year, so jump into big savings at Gossett Kia on the Pike. New 2024 Kia Forte LXS gets 41 MPG, $239 a month, $27.99 due at signing. How about 7-passenger seating? Get 2023 Kia Sorento LX, $319 a month, $34.99 due at signing. 2024 Kia Telluride LX, $459 a month, $34.99 due at signing. All 36-month lease, and don't forget, every Gossett Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So call Bobby J to put you in a new Kia today. That's Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or online anytime at KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 650 acquisition fee. Forte RE 722-812, MSRP 21,590. Sorrento PG 242710, MSRP 33,010. Telluride RG 462-822, MSRP 38,705. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 2/29/24 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets, with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli, with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Traffic's busy already through the Midtown area, just in certain places like 240 southbound here at Union down past Norris. It can get a little bit busy already on 240 east passing Walnut Grove headed to Port Sam Cooper. And we're still dealing with some rain showers out here in certain parts, especially north of Memphis. Be careful up in Tipton County especially. Hey, 24/7 reliable crane and rigging services right here in Memphis. It's Tomahawk Crane and Rigging. They're online at tomahawkcrane.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Well, we're working to get Shelby Mast on to talk bracketology, where he has the Tigers and what his bracket is looking like over at bracketwag.com. We're trying to get him on, but it is interesting looking at some of these brackets, not only his over at bracketwag.com, but also Joe Lenardi and Jerry Palm, where they have some of these teams sitting and where they have the Tigers sitting.
Yeah, and it's bracketology time. It will start to codify. We're not that far out. The idea of the Memphis Tigers only having 3 remaining home games, it shows you how quickly it all flies by, and it does. And you got to go out there and make your way. We were talking about Friday in your absence of, when do you become who you are? Well, we're getting close to that point.
Absolutely.
This is still a little bit early. But every day we say that, it's getting later.
That's right. Another day passes, and we're one day closer to March and March Madness, and you've got to start figuring out. If you don't know what you are as a team right now, you're really trying to figure it out over these next couple of weeks because, you don't want to have these question marks. I mentioned it earlier with this Tiger team and yesterday, kind of seeing that rotation, kind of trimmed down a little bit. You want to see that because very clearly last week, Penny Hardaway did not know what this rotation was going to be. He did not know what this team was going to be in terms of guys playing, and those are things you have got to figure out because you cannot be running out there in your conference tournament, running out there in March and saying, all right, Ashton, get out there and try to get some points.
That's a hard no.
No, you can't do that. You can't say, Carl, get out there and give me 4 or 5 minutes.
No.
You've got to have that roster, and you've got to have trust in those guys, and this is where teams figure out who those go-to guys are going to be.
And I know for the fans, and it is certainly there mathematically, well, they could win the tournament and the automatic bid. They did last year for the Tigers. Well, the Tigers were already in last year, whether they won that or not. In fact, they might have even could have withstood a Friday exit from the first game and withstood it last year. You can talk that they could win the conference tournament, but haven't you seen enough so far this year to really know that's probably not going to happen?
Yeah, no, I think so, and it will be interesting to see if they can and how far they can go, and certainly with kind of seeding in terms of conference, what seed do they start off with? It won't be being the second seed.
I could scale Kilimanjaro, but I'm probably not going to.
No, probably not. Well, it looks like we have Shelby Mass now from BracketWag.com. Shelby, thanks so much for joining us again to talk some bracketology. As Brett just said it, day and day we're getting a little bit closer to March and March Madness. I see in your most recent bracketology over at BracketWag.com, you have the Tigers just slightly on the right side of the bracket. They are the final team in the last 4 in, and you have them playing in Dayton for the 12 seed against St. John's in that first round. What have you seen lately? Has it been the wins? They're now on a 3-game winning streak. Has it been that, or has it been some of those early games I saw over the weekend? Clemson got a big win. VCU got a big win. Those games jumped into quad 1 territory. What has been the biggest reason for you to get Memphis back on the right side of the bubble?
Well, I think it was the main thing was there were other teams kind of in their area that had bad losses or bad teams.
Yeah.
Providence lost, Oregon lost, Seton Hall, they all lost. Colorado. Gonzaga's one. That was a good game against Kentucky, and I really came close to moving Gonzaga up, but I went and gave it to Memphis for the time being.
Shelby, for that 12 seed spot playing in Dayton, I know they earned it coming out of Dayton, but to get to Dayton, do you really fall to that or do you earn that?
It depends on which side of the bubble you're on. Some teams, they fall to that, like Memphis, and other teams have worked their way up. Washington State's one I had there last week, and they have earned it to get out of Dayton, but they could, they've been on the outside most of the year and have just recently moved in, so they would have earned it. But Memphis has definitely fallen.
Yeah. Well, Shelby, we're getting down to really kind of a handful of games left in the regular season for all of these teams. And when you look at Memphis right now in Dayton for that 12 seed, realistically, where do you think the Tigers, if they kind of go off and pulling together wins, stringing together wins, how high do you think the Tigers could get? Do you think it's Dayton or nothing? Do you think they can get to that 11 line and be safe without playing in Dayton?
I think they could possibly, if they string together some nice wins, they could get up to about the 8 or 9.
Wow.
In the game, possibly if FAU kind of falters a little bit and say Memphis gets to the finals of the conference tournament, I can see them in the 8-9 game.
And you see Memphis in your bracket right now at BracketWag.com, Shelby. You see them kind of right there not far away from Texas A&M. A&M had the big home win Saturday night over Tennessee, really put it on Tennessee. Ole Miss won at College Station. The Memphis Tigers won at College Station. But A&M still with that lusty 37 net, while you've got Ole Miss at 58 today, and you've got Memphis at 75 today in the net.
Yeah, I'm feeling uncomfortable about them at 75 and being in the bracket. The committee tends not to go too far into the 70s to find the remaining teams. It has happened and probably will happen again, but that gets into real iffy territory.
Yeah. I'm curious, you mentioned Gonzaga, their big win over Kentucky. You said that you kind of thought about maybe putting them on the right side of the bracket after that win. How much work does Gonzaga need to do? We know it's kind of the same story every single season with them of weak conference. You know, you're beating a lot of teams that aren't anywhere close to being in the bubble or around the bubble. What does Gonzaga need to do down the stretch to get back into the tournament?
Well, they got to string together some wins, and what's bad for them or puts them in a bad spot, they only got 5 games left.
Wow!
Because their conference, they had their tournament a week before everybody else, and so they may be in a position to where they have to win it all. They're not going to have a lot of opportunities left. St. Mary's being the only good win that will be on their resume. I don't know why they play Kentucky this weekend, but that was one that they needed that game big time. If they'd lost that, I think you could have pretty much said that they have to win the tournament. Mm-hmm. Right now, with that win, that gives them a little hope, but they still only have one quad one win, and St. Mary's would be a second and would be real nice for them.
Today you have 9 from the Big 12, 9 from the SEC, 6 from the Big 10, 6 from the Mountain West, 5 from the Big East, 4 from the ACC, Pac-12 with 3, and the AAC with 2. Everybody else with one bid. Do you feel that certain of 9 from the SEC? A&M's that we mentioned the great net, but just eye test other than Saturday night against Tennessee. I don't know if I'm that knocked over by A&M.
No, they're good. They've got some good wins, and I've seen enough of their games to where I really like them some games, and there's others where I'm kind of like, they're okay. And so I think they've had enough of those good wins to where they're on the right side, but will the committee see the same way? I don't know.
We talked about Gonzaga. When you look at Kentucky on the other side of that game, another home loss that makes 3 straight home losses for them. You have them down on the 6th seed in your most recent bracket. Where do you think Kentucky, where do you think they end up? I mean, obviously a lot of good opportunities still left on that schedule playing in a tough SEC. And Brett just mentioned all of the SEC teams that you have in the tournament. Where do you think they end up on Selection Sunday?
Well, I've seen enough of Kentucky that I think they're a really good team. They're very athletic, very talented.
Yeah.
I think they're better than where I have them right now, but they don't have the resume that supports that. They can be, I mean, I don't want to say all world, but they can be really good if everything goes, all the injuries they get past that and whatever else they've got going against them. They're a talented team. I think they probably end up around the 5 seed, and I venture to guess that they don't want to be there.
And Kentucky with 3 straight losses at Rupp Arena, first time for that to ever happen, and first time since 1966 to suffer 3 straight losses at home. I think they're going in the wrong direction. Shelby, I respectfully disagree. You think they're moving up. I think they're moving out. I think they could get into territory that if they – and the idea of them playing on Thursday in Nashville, there's some of that big blue faithful that they don't want to be seen at a game on Thursday in Nashville. If they played and lost in Nashville, they could be in jeopardy of being left out.
Yeah, I don't think overall I think they are moving down, but I think they have the potential to kind of move back up. I don't know if they will, but there's enough people screaming right now for Rip Pitino to be gone Calipari to be gone, that that's not going to set well with him and others. Are they going to right the ship? I don't know, but they're not looking real good right now. But it's going to be tough to see them falling all the way down to a double-digit seed or something like that. That's a long way to go in a lot of teams' path.
Freudian slip for you might be some screaming for Rick Pitino to return.
It might be.
Yeah, that's something.
Yeah.
I don't think will happen, but boy, that's.
Last thing for you, Shelby, and please forgive me if I asked you this question last week. I couldn't remember, and it's a question I really want to ask you, but we talked about Indiana State a little bit earlier. You have them as an 11 seed. They're in the AP Top 25 this week. You have them playing Kentucky in the first round of the tournament, which would not be an easy game for Kentucky. But when you look at some of these mid-major teams, and everyone's looking for a Cinderella in March, everyone loves that story. What's a team that you've seen this year, that you've watched, that you think could make some noise in the tournament that one of these power conference teams wouldn't want to see in the first round?
Any team that's got a player with goggles and a beer gut, you got to like.
That's right.
I love it. I really like Grand King. They're good. Yeah. They've got talent, possible NBA talent on their team. That's a team to watch for. And then McNeese State.
Oh, yeah.
Watch out for those guys. That is a very well-coached team. Will Wade, they won't back down from anybody.
Yeah, those are two really good ones, Grand Canyon and McNeese State. I think McNeese State plays tonight even, so people can go check them out. Well, Shelby, thank you so much for joining us again. Always love talking bracketology as we're getting closer and closer to Selection Sunday, and we'll do it again next week.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Shelby.
Thank you so much. Shelby Mass with us from BracketWag.com talking bracketology. The commissary, Walker Taylor, and all of his associates, they want to say thank you to so many people. I know yesterday's big game events and parties and get-togethers, I know where it started. It started at the commissary. They want to thank everyone for your trust and your business through all these years. And it was so many catered events yesterday and even fun at the Collierville commissary with all the party packs and all the wings that went out with that. And they're doing the same for Valentine's on Wednesday night. For Valentine's on Wednesday night, you take that someone special to either commissary. You go to Collierville commissary and you get the slab of ribs. You get it for about $8 to $9 off, and you also get the Valentine's dessert to go with that. And in Collierville, you have champagne at the Germantown commissary, complimentary 2 beers for there. That's both places, the Collierville commissary at Houston, Levy, and Poplar, are the original in Germantown for the Day of Love that is Wednesday, and it's perfect for a big group at the commissary for any event. For tonight to watch the Grizzlies, for any night to watch the Tigers or Grizzlies, to enjoy, to hang out. Memphis-style barbecue and ribs done the authentic Memphis-style way, the slow-cooked way. If you're craving an easier way to order, you can text commissary right now to 33733. So many of these great appetizers went out to make Super Bowl Sunday a big hit. The barbecue nachos, the tamales, the cheese plate, the smoked chicken wings. Then dig into the ribs of the shoulder, chopped or pulled on a plate on a sandwich. All the sides, the party pack, 6-pack, 8-pack, 12-pack. So many enjoyed that yesterday for the big game. The desserts, here's the number, 901-754-5540. Or go online at commissarybbq.com. In Collierville, in Germantown, the party areas, the orders to go, catering, tailgating, any event, any holiday, always time for the commissary. 901-754-5540. Or online at commissarybbq.com.
Let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
You already know you can listen to Sports 56 anywhere with the Sports 56 app or at sports56whbq.com. But you can also watch us daily with live video of all of our shows on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
We all appreciate luxury. We love the newest technology. We want something that sparkles and looks great. Well, I've got it all in one place. It's called Genesis of Olive Branch, right at the corner of Highway 78. That's Lamar. And the first exit in Mississippi, that's Craft Road. Turn left and you will see Genesis of Olive Branch. And right now, you can get the 2024 Genesis GV70 starting at $49,480 with special financing as low as just 3.49% on select models. How about the 2024 Genesis GV80? A little bit bigger, starting at $55,995, financing as low as 5.49% with a $2,000 rebate when trading a luxury brand. Call them. They'll even bring you a Genesis at your work or your home for a test drive. They're convinced that when you drive a Genesis, you're going to want one. Call 662-890-6684. Ask for Vinny. Genesis of Olive Branch.
Welcome to the Rendezvous.
This is John Vergas. When my dad started the Rendezvous in 1948, I don't think anyone could have imagined we'd still be serving shoulder, cheese plates, and our world-famous dry rub ribs 75 years later. But we are still here in the basement, in an alley in downtown Memphis. We sincerely thank you for making the Rendezvous what it is today. Charlie Vergas Rendezvous. A legendary experience for over 75 years, whether you dine in, pick up, or ship across the country.
Bartlett Small Engine has been serving quality power equipment since 1970. They have a full line of power equipment, parts, and services for most makes and models. Bartlett Small Engines has the best brands in the power tool industry, and they're all American made. Bartlett Small Engine is your can-do store. 6780 Summer Avenue. Call 901-386-9779.
Bartlett Small Engine has free pickup and delivery both at your home and curbside for lawnmowers, blowers, edgers, and any small engine. Call 901-386-9779.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Hey, this is Eli Savoy, and I've got a question for you. Who wants to pay full retail for a pre-owned car or truck when you can buy it at wholesale? Wholesale Unlimited on Pleasant View, right off Covington Pike, has an unlimited selection of super sharp pre-owned cars and trucks you can buy at the wholesale price. And right now, you can use your tax refund as all or part of a down payment and still just pay the wholesale price. Chevy Silverados, F-150s and Ram trucks, Tahoes, Explorers, Jeep Wranglers, Grand Cherokees, Renegades, a Cadillac SRX, Camaros, Mustang convertible, Hyundais. Check it out. Go to wucars.com or Google Wholesale Unlimited Memphis. This is great. Your money goes a long way when you can buy at the wholesale price, and tax refund time makes it even better. Go to Wholesale Unlimited on Pleasant View, just off Covington Pike, with guaranteed approval. Tell them you heard about it right here on Sports 56, and you can thank me later.
Memphis, get loud for your Memphis Grizzlies when they face off against the New Orleans Pelicans tonight at 7 p.m. presented by Big River Steel. Arrive early. First 5,000 will receive a Derrick Rose travel chess set. Get ready for a star-studded show by securing your tickets at Grizzlies.com.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Big Daddy. Hello, Big Brand. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big. Big Daddy.
The big boy. You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
Well, Brett, you mentioned earlier what your big number kind of centers around, and I think I might know what your big number is, so I would like you to go first to see what we got.
No decimal point, though. Okay. Did you think I was going to have one?
I had 2 numbers. One had a decimal point, one did not, and so we're about 50-50.
My big number is 508. 508.
Okay.
That's the combined punting yards for Mitch Wisnowski, who knew, and Tommy Townsend, even less knew. Huh. Mitch Wisnowski went for 254. Mm-hmm. Tommy Townsend went for 254. Yep. The 508 on 10 punts, that's an average of 50.8 for both kickers, 3 inside the 20 for Mitch Wisnowski, 2 inside the 20 for Tommy Townsend. It was a special teams day, and the one error really was not San Francisco's fault. Yeah. It hit one of the up guys when you don't get out of the way of the ball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Brett, I mean, I was spot on. I thought your number was going to be 254, so I did not double it. I thought you were just going to say both of them had 254. And then the fact that 254, both of them had 254, which adds up to 508, and then the average of that, of 254 is 50.8 yards. That's incredible.
There was a time the unthinkable was going to happen. The MVP of the game upon her.
Oh,
just can't happen. Just can't happen.
Brett,
Cancel the game.
Would have been.
Send everybody home.
Might have been one of the best sports moments of my life if we had a punter as the MVP of the game.
Across big-time college football and the NFL especially, man, these deep snappers, holders, kickers, punters, they've got it down.
Oh yeah, no, it's a special talent for sure, and they definitely have it down. My big number also comes from the Super Bowl. I've got a couple. One just fun. We already kind of talked about it. But the number one, Juwan Jennings, is the first wide receiver in NFL history to both throw and catch a touchdown pass in a postseason game.
That's good.
That is incredible from Juwan Jennings. But my real big number, it's two big numbers that it's two numbers that I'll just put together, 325 and 50, the only quarterbacks to ever throw for 325 passing yards and rush for 50 yards in a Super Bowl. Joe Montana and now Patrick Mahomes. He did that last night in that game. Just unbelievable. All the stats you can bring up, all the different categories you can bring up of Patrick Mahomes and just the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history.
He's there. Now, we know now that he's only had 3 playoff losses, one in a Super Bowl and 2 in AFC championship games.
Yep.
2 of those 3 losses were to the guy everybody's comparing him to.
Yeah, well, and that's
Tom Brady AFC championship game when a guy couldn't get lined up right for Kansas City.
Yeah.
Really wasn't Mahomes' fault at all. And then on a day that the Kansas City Chiefs offensive line had a lot of trouble. And also this, I'm not trying to kick a guy here, but remember around that Super Bowl was everything going on with Andy Reid's son that week.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. That's a good point. But, speaking of Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady, after the game, he was talking to somebody. I think he was on set after the game on CBS, and they asked him, people are starting to compare you to Tom Brady in terms of that, greatest of all time conversation. And, do you ever think about that? Do you hear it? What is that like? And he said, I hear it. But, the one thing, Tom Brady beat me in a Super Bowl. And no matter, what happens, he can always say that he beat me in a Super Bowl. And I said, I thought that was awesome that he is still bothers him that Tom Brady beat him in a Super Bowl.
So that's who he's being mentioned with in NFL, and that's a club of 2, as I said earlier. Brian, I didn't think the day would ever come that in the history of the city of Tyler, Texas, there would be anybody better than Earl Campbell.
Yeah.
But it is. It's Patrick Mahomes.
It's crazy. It's insane. And
knock off Earl Campbell and Tyler is the unthinkable.
Oh, it's crazy. And I saw earlier on Twitter. And I don't remember. I think it was ESPN from Draft Day where they went through and graded all the draft picks, and someone gave Kansas City Chiefs for taking Patrick Mahomes at number 10 a C+. A C+.
Patrick
Mahomes. That's bad.
Worked out okay.
Yeah. Cold takes exposed on that one. I mean, that is really, really tough. I mean, now the guy's been in conversations of greatest player of all time, and still a lot of the back of the football card to be filled out. So an unbelievable game for him. Another MVP for him as well last night in that Super Bowl MVP. But we need to get to our break and wrap up our second hour. When we come back, we're talking Grizzlies with DeMichael Cole.
Chris Price, it's so good to see you. And you have a new business?
Yes, Dave. MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Have you noticed water stains on your ceiling? With storm season here, take a walk around your home or business and look up. Make sure there are no water stains signaling a leak prior to the heavy storms coming in. If you do see signs of water, call me. My team and I will come out, diagnose the problem, and prescribe a fix. Our team of Hague-certified inspectors are waiting to assist with any inspection or repairs you may need. We have 3 crews dedicated to repairing roofs in the Mid-South. As certified Owens Corning Corning and Mule High dealers, we offer 20-year no-dollar limit labor and material warranties that offer hassle-free ownership. That's our hassle-free ownership guarantee. Allow Metro Builders team of professionals to assist you in maintaining your property's integrity and value. MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Your local commercial roof experts. Ask about our commercial roof maintenance agreements. Protect your investment with MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Call me, 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717. 375-1717.
It's a new year, and Family Leisure has a new way to bring family and fun together. All you have to do is walk into Family Leisure and look around. All those floor model patio sets you see, those have got to go. So Family Leisure can make room for all the new sets coming. Get a wicker sofa set for under $2,000. Pool tables under $1,500. Theater seating for under $2,000. Hot tubs for $4,000 or just for yourself. If you really want to lounge, they're under $5,000. Need patio cushions? Get them as low as $25. Oh, have you seen those infrared steam saunas? Well, now they and the traditional saunas are 25% off. It may just be the first few weeks of 2024, but that doesn't mean you can't start getting ready for summer. Two final things. Purchase your above-ground pool now and get first in line for installation, and take advantage of special financing that's available. Family Leisure, Whitten Road and I-40, bringing the family and the fun back together.
Shop, compare, and save from hundreds of experts to turn your dream home into a reality. We have everything to help you remodel, refresh, and beautify your home inside and out. So come on out to the Home Show of the Mid-South, February 16th through the 18th at the Agri Center. You'll find special show pricing on kitchens, baths, patios and landscaping, flooring, cabinets, windows, roofing. It's all at the Home Show of the Mid-South, February 16th through the 18th at the Agri Center. For more info, visit memphishomeshow.com. That's memphishomeshow.com.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
All 650 acquisition fee. Forte RE722-812, MSRP 21590. Sorrento PG 242710, MSRP 33010. Telluride RG 462-822, MSRP 38705. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 2/29/24 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
Hey, Jeff Allen, you ready to get this party started at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah?
You bet I am, Randy. Gossett's got your new Kia that gets 41 MPG highway. 2024 Kia Forte LXS, $239 a month. $27.99 due at signing. Need extra room? How about a 2023 Kia Sorrento LX at $319 a month, $34.99 due at signing, and a 2024 Kia Telluride S all-wheel drive, $459 a month, $34.99 due at signing, all 36-month lease.
Plus, get peace of mind because with every Gossett Kia, you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
2680 Mount Moriah or online, KiaMountMoriah.com.
Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company, we have it all. From handmade Amish leather belts, fine and casual clothing, boots, casual boots, work boots, fancy boots, and even safety-toed boots. Lots of cowboy hats to choose from, even Nebo lights, good-looking duck head dress shirts, duck head caps, shorts, and pants. Tons of jeans from Ariat, Wrangler, Devil Dog, and Kimes Ranch jeans. At Hewlett & Dunn, we have a great selection of Old South t-shirts and caps, fine clothing from dress to casual to Sunday best. Enjoy choosing from UFO's orthopedic-approved shoes. Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company. Boots of every size, every color, every skin. Great quality Western, work, and safety toe boots. Hewlett & Dunn Boots and Clothing Company. 111 North Center Street, Collierville. Hewlett & Dunn. Hewlett & Dunn, serving you and your family since 1961.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. It's really starting to load up with more volume just in the last few minutes as we look at it live here on 40 East from Sycamore View Road all the way out to Germantown Parkway, continuing out towards Fayette County. Now it's crowded over here as expected. This time of the afternoon, 240 East at Mount Moriah. Some of that traffic is getting on to 385 Bill Morris Parkway, continuing out to Collierville. Still not too terribly bad as you travel down through South Haven, south of Memphis on 55. Now it is a little slow at times. 55 northbound. We just checked that traffic there in the construction between Macklemore and South Parkway. Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64 is your Valentine's Day headquarters. I'm Commander Chuck, your on-time traffic.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Oh, yeah. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Hewlett & Dunn, Boot and Jean Company in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you, and joining us to start our 5 o'clock hour, DeMichael Cole joins us now. DeMichael, thanks so much for joining us. Obviously, a lot of Grizzlies to get to with the trade deadline last week, but how'd you enjoy the Super Bowl last night? Chiefs and 49ers, what was your Sunday night like?
Yeah, see, guys, it was cool, but one thing you got to understand about me is, see, I'm a Packers fan, so, like, a lot of my childhood was filled with what could have been, what should have been, with Aaron Rodgers and, all the 4 NFC championship losses. Mm-hmm. And this one, it kind of felt similar because as I'm watching the game, and of course I'm trying to enjoy it with everyone else, and the halftime show was phenomenal and everything, but all I can allow myself to think is, man, we put it on the Chiefs in the regular season. Yeah. The only team I think to score over 25 points against the Kansas City Chiefs defense was the Green Bay Packers. So I'm like, man, we could have gotten them, and then of course we had San Francisco on the ropes all game long, pretty much until late in the fourth quarter. So as I'm watching the game, I'm enjoying it on one hand, but the other hand, it's like another year where I'm filled with the hypotheticals.
Mm-hmm. DeMichael, I said that earlier. I said earlier, give me 2 quarterbacks right now in the NFL. Give me Patrick Mahomes. Give me Jordan Love. Yep. The Packers, the Lions, arguably Tua, certainly Baltimore. You could argue a bunch of teams were sick because they were watching that yesterday thinking, Dallas even, that could have been us.
Yeah. The team that stand out to me, even more so than my Packers, is Baltimore. This was their chance.
Detroit.
Yeah.
When's Baltimore's going to get there again with Lamar? When's Detroit getting back?
That's a good question.
Yeah. Detroit may not get back. From the game perspective, Baltimore has run the ball down teams' throat year after year after year after year after year, and they get away from the run against Kansas City and let the game get away from them. Lamar made a couple mistakes, and it's like that defense that Baltimore had, like going against San Francisco. I think they beat San Fran in the regular season. They did beat them in the regular season. So they
badly.
They beat them bad. Like it just felt like this was their year, and I agree with you. I do think there's a silver lining. Like Baltimore is going to be in the hunt for many more years to come. But guess what? Joe Burrow is going to be healthy. And that thing's going to get retooled over there in Cincinnati. And, Miami's on the rise. They just made the defensive coordinator change. We'll see kind of what happens over there. And then that team in Houston, man, I mean, like we're talking about the Packers being a trending team up. C.J. Stroud, he's the real deal. So it's like, yeah, they'll be around for many more years, but you can kind of see an upward trajectory because of the quarterback play. For so many years, it was Phillip Rivers, Tom Brady, Ben Roethlisberger, Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson. We finally see the new direction of quarterback play for the next 10 years.
DeMichael, that's a really good transition before we get into kind of meat and potatoes Grizzlies talk. Yeah. Right now, as we approach the All-Star break for the NBA, just in the West, how many teams you think can really be thinking about, we can go to the Western Conference Finals. We can represent the West in the NBA Finals. How many?
Man, it's a lot of them. And to give you off the top of my head, I'll say 7. But you can make an argument 8, 9 teams feel that way. I think the Timberwolves being the 1 seed, the Clippers, the Thunder, and the Nuggets, they all one game. I mean, they're all separated by half a game right now. All of them should feel like Western Conference Finals or bust. The Phoenix Suns, the way they're constructed ever since they've been healthy, they've been up there. They should feel that way. The Dallas Mavericks, after the move that they've just made, Dallas has won 4 games in a row. They're still the 8th seed. But after getting Daniel Gafford, after getting P.J. Washington, they should feel like, you know what? We're late to the party, but we can make a Lakers-type run as last season. Golden State.
I agree.
With the defense changing, and Golden State has this confidence about them, right? Yeah, they're the 10 seed right now, but Golden State always has had that. Yeah, when we get to the playoffs, we can flip the gear, tighten it, flip the shift.
And the Lakers did it last year.
Yeah,
and the Lakers did it last year. That's 8 teams that I just named, and that didn't even include the Pelicans and the Kings. So, I mean, you could really make an argument that all 10 of the teams that I just mentioned, and that's kind of what we expected, right? Remember at the beginning of the year, we were talking about the conference, and we were saying, I mean, it's going to be star-studded, stacked, and this is how it's going to be years to come.
And DeMichael, with that leads into this line of questioning. I know Friday, Zach Kleiman had a media availability and kind of a good airing of some things, and I wish they would do it more often, but he talked about this championship window. How big, how small do you think that championship window that it currently exists for the Grizzlies? Because, this time next year, all those teams you just named, they're not going away. I think Utah will be a little bit better. San Antonio can't stay this down that long. Utah's going to be better. Just how much a year from now, the Grizzlies rolling to a 50-win season, how really wide open is a championship window? He said championship. That might mean Western Conference champion, but even that, how wide open is it?
Yeah, see, so here's the thing when we talk about championship windows for me. I think sometimes people get lost in the idea of, oh, we didn't do it this year. We'll be back. We'll be back. But think about it. The Grizzlies, 2 years ago, second round of the playoffs, and everyone said, oh, they'll be back here. And since then, it's been first round and no playoffs this year, more than likely. The point is, I agree with the premise of a championship window. The Grizzlies have all the talent in the world to enter what should feel like a time frame where they should at least, like you said, win a Western Conference, be in the Western Conference Finals, and be a perennial championship contender. But the year-to-year in this league, I mean, the West is so tight right now. One bad sprained ankle from your star player, and they miss 3 to 6 weeks. You can go from the 1 seed to a play-in team.
Yeah.
Like, no exaggeration. 3-6 weeks. It's that tight right now. And that's some of the things that you can't control. So my point is, I do think the Grizzlies have a championship window for, the next 5 years at least. Because Ja and Dez are under contract for the next 5 years. Jaren's contract extensions will start next offseason, not this one coming up, but the year after that. And I fully expect the Grizzlies and him to work something out on that end. So the core is going to be in place for years to come. And then you talk about the potential added growth in the G.G. Jackson, Vince Williams, whatever the case may be, draft picks. They have a core to really make this thing happen. But here's my approach, guys. I think that every year you go for it. The Grizzlies are at that point now because the money is about to be tied up. And that's where I was getting to earlier. Like, now, next season, you shouldn't play the game where in the past couple of years they've drafted these young guys. We're developing them. You got to go for it now because you don't know when it'll happen again. Remember the year the Suns went to the NBA Finals two or three seasons ago? And when the Suns went to the NBA Finals, they played a Clippers team that didn't have Kawhi Leonard. I think they played a Nuggets team that didn't have Jamal Murray. And they played a Lakers team where Anthony Davis got hurt in the series. This is not taking anything away from the Suns. This is just merely pointing out the fact that teams and injuries will happen, and you have to take advantage of your opportunity when it comes, and you have to put yourself in a championship mindset each and every season. So I think the championship window is now. It starts right now as you prepare into next season, and you need to go into next season not thinking, oh, man, the Suns and the Clippers and the Warriors and all these teams are going to be really good. Like, no, we're going to be as good as those guys. And if Curry, suffers a sprained ankle in the series, we're going to be good enough to knock them off, to take advantage of that. And that's kind of how you got to position yourself for this thing.
Absolutely. Well, the trade deadline was last week. We talked to you about the Steven Adams deal last Monday, but we haven't talked to you since these other two deals that the Grizzlies made. They sent Xavier Tillman to Boston. In return, they get Lamar Stevens, who's a free agent at the end of this year, and 2 second-round picks. Then on deadline day, David Roddy traded to the Suns in a 3-team trade. In return, Chimezie Metu, Yuta Watanabe, and a second-round pick swap. What did you make of the moves? You were kind of the first one that told us, they're planning for the future. None of these trades are going to be for this year because of how the season has gone. They're going to try to free up some spaces on this roster and kind of get ready for next year. What did you think about these 3 trades that they did ahead of the deadline?
Yeah, it worked out perfectly, right? Like, that was the way that we talked about it on here. And as I was saying, roster flexibility is the goal. They're not trying to get I know people want to hear, they're swinging for the fences and going to get all-star center and things like that. Like, we gotta accept in our minds at the end of the day that the Grizzlies' financial situation is about to drastically shift to an area that we haven't really seen in franchise history before. We haven't seen the Grizzlies have, max guys like John Morant and Desmond Bane. And then you're going to have to address the Jaren Jackson Jr.'s extension, by the way, which could possibly be like $300 million. Like, he's gonna surpass Desmond Bane and John Morant more than likely if he continues to play at this level. So you're talking about 3 contracts that are going to take up most of your salary cap. So now you got to win on the margins, and that's what these moves kind of set the Grizzlies up to do. You create the flexibility, the space. Not even just from getting below the first apron, removing a guy like Steven Adams, but you bring back, Yuta Watanabe, who is on a minimum contract. He has a player option for next season, but the point is it's a minimum contract. So if you part ways with him, you're not, eating a huge chunk of salary there. And Lamar Stevens, he's also on an expiring. Even Victor Oladipo, when they got him, eventually they were able to waive him because of other moves. But if they had to keep him, he was on an expiring contract that would have, cleared the books in the offseason. This offseason coming up is where the Grizzlies are going to make some moves. We'll see how big those moves are. Again, I can very well see them just going around the margins. Hey, let's go get a starting big for a mid-level exception-type contract and someone who's just going to rebound and play defense. And we don't need anyone to score. You got 3 guys in your starting lineup averaging over 20 points. Like, when everyone's at full health, so they can handle the bulk of that. The deadline did what it was supposed to do. It wasn't anything flashy, it wasn't the super big splashy move, but it's kind of setting the Grizzlies up from a financial standpoint, from a roster flexibility standpoint, to be able to do whatever they want to do this offseason.
DeMichael, maybe not this time next year, but for sure in 2 years, we could look up in the big 4 for the Memphis Grizzlies would be Ja Jaren, Desmond Bane, and G.G. Jackson. If that's the case, and I think they already should be greatly applauded, and it may end up being the most team-friendly contract in the history of the NBA, what they had the foresight to do with G.G. Jackson. But in 2 years, if that's the case, this front office, for all the accolades that they've correctly gotten, and the criticism will all go away, because G.G. Jackson in this time in 2 years, in February of 2026, he could be right there as one of the real standouts in the league.
Yeah, but our thoughts are aligned on this one. I know a lot of people keep talking about next season. Man, imagine what G.G. is going to look like with these guys next year. And I get it. I get it. But at the same time, I'm thinking 2 years ahead when he's 21 years old at that point, and he'll be bigger. Mm-hmm. And he's still, at 21, he's still
ripe old age of 21.
Yeah, he's still one. I mean, David Roddy and Jake LaRavia, those guys, I think they were 21 when the Grizzlies drafted them. Like, this is just unusual territory. I mean, he has all the natural talent, but you know what? G.G. Jackson, I mean, this is such you hear it a lot, but I don't say it a lot because it has to have some meaning behind it. But this is a very down to earth, humble kid. Like, he was a 5-star recruit. He was committed to North Carolina. He went to South Carolina, and they basically gave him the keys to the program. Like, the guy has every reason to be like, I'm that guy. But then, he got hit with a sense of reality. And he even said, he was big-headed at first and things like that. And dropping to the second round, having to play on a 2-way contract. Even before he got drafted, people told me that he was telling teams, like, hey, I'm willing to, play on a 2-way contract. I'm willing to go down to the G League if I have to do that. And you think J.J. Jackson, when he was the number 1 ranked player in the country, imagined having to tell teams that, hey, I'm willing to play in the G League if you draft me. Like, it just didn't seem plausible. But all of that has kind of helped mold him now, and he's become this real, down to earth guy. Like, he just got the contract, and he's very grateful. But he's been saying all the right things since then. But he's got a good head on his shoulders at this point. Comes from good support system. Looking forward to seeing what he becomes, because I agree with you, Brett. If this thing works out like it's trending towards, this is going to be one of the best value deals we've seen.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, after they did that, putting Gigi on a standard contract, they moved Trey Jemison from the 10-day to a 2-way spot. And Trey Jemison's a guy that, before they even signed him to a 10-day, I heard a lot of people on social media, a lot of people up here saying, man, they really need to go out and give this Trey Jemison guy a chance. I think he went up to Washington, had a 10-day with the Wizards before the Grizzlies signed him to a 10-day. And I've really liked what I've seen from him. What did you make of what he has done in his time since joining the Grizzlies, and now what do you expect to see from him now that he's on a 2-way going forward?
Yeah, so here's the thing with Trey Jemison. Like, he's like, you get up close to him, and he's a big dude, man. Yeah. Like, he's super chiseled frame. He's every bit of 6'10", with 260, like, muscular guy. So you see, like, why everyone, the hype, in a way. Yeah. But then the other side of it, you also see, like, why he was available. Like, it's a 2-way street, right? So you see, okay, this is why he was available. You see the areas, okay, this is where he needs to clean up his game. So offensively, not really polished there. He has the hook shots and things like that. But at the end of the day, he's one of those guys where you want him finishing right around the rim or dunking. And anything outside of that is a mystery. That's his game right now. Defensively is where he has really kind of made a name for himself. That's why the Grizzlies signed him to a 10-day and eventually signed him to a 2-way deal, because he's a strong rebounder. He's a strong guy overall. He's had some phenomenal blocks already, like a couple block shots where he's really took away baskets, at the rim. So, but here's the thing, like, again, as I said earlier, even though the offense is quote unquote, a weakness from a scoring standpoint, you don't need that with the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies will have Jaren Jackson Jr., Desmond Bane, John Moran in their lineup, and if it's Marcus Smart is a double-figure scorer pretty much his entire career, you're going to have 3 20-point-per-game guys and another guy who gets, 12, 13, 14 points per game nightly. Like, you don't need the center to be Joel Embiid, because he's not going to be able to. He's not going to have the ball in his hands that much anyway. You just need someone who's going to clean up the mess, and that is a role that Trey Jemison is capable of playing. Now, that's what this 2-way deal is for, because he needs to get more seasoning. He needs to, develop a little bit more offensively, and then he has to, defensively. Like, he still has to come away there in terms of, the little things, the rotations, and just the smarts of the game that'll allow him to be a better all-around defender. But I like him as an upside signing. I think that's the way to put it. He's an upside guy. You invest in him now, and he can potentially be a long play for you.
Yeah. DeMichael, this week at home tonight against New Orleans, on Wednesday night against Houston, Thursday night against Milwaukee, and Friday night against the Clippers. What's the goal? You got to entertain your fans. You got to have effort, and they have. They absolutely have. They just don't have enough to go into that last 6 minutes of the game. Every game feels like the same trap door gets pulled out from under the Grizzlies. Is there a win-loss quotient to this week?
man, it's tough to do it. They're at 8 games lost in a row now, and it shows when you get to that final stretch, right? Like you mentioned, it's that late in the fourth quarters. Because if you're watching the Grizzlies, like I don't think I quite honest, I dare someone to say, "Oh, this team isn't playing hard right now." Like they from an energy standpoint, you're not seeing what was happening early in the season where Derrick Rose was saying we need to communicate better to the media, and Marcus Smart was in the huddle, calling out the team's lack of effort. You don't see that anymore. Like these dudes are playing there. You can tell it's a lot of guys out there on like waivers and two-way deals because they're playing for their futures. Like you can see it. Like they're trying to keep food on the table. Now, but when you get to that fourth quarter, guess what? The other team is going to have that same sense of urgency. Some teams play with it for 4 quarters, but as most NBA teams, you got to save some for the fourth quarter, right? Like they're human beings; they get tired. So when you get to that fourth quarter, is when you kind of have to save that last win, so to speak, and that's when other teams have that advantage over the Grizzlies because now the one advantage that Memphis has had through 3 quarters, which is they're out hustling you. Because you look at the stats, guys, they're still shooting 35, 40, 42% in these quarters. They're just winning it because they're getting the loose balls. They're making the extra hustle plays and making things happen. But when you get to the fourth quarter, the game gets a lot tighter, and your margin for error is much more smaller, and that's when the talent of the opponent tends to take over. So from a win standpoint, it's going to be tough. I think maybe they catch the Rockets on the first night of that back-to-back, as you mentioned, between the Rockets and the Bucks. I know. Dylan Brooks in Memphis again, and that was going to get a little attention and whatnot. The Pelicans have lost the last 2 against the Grizzlies, and that was with Ja Morant on the floor. They're the one team that kind of really felt Ja Morant's presence while he was here because they beat the Grizzlies beat them twice. But I feel like that's part of the reason they'll come out and they'll be that team that's not going to lack energy early. But that Rockets one, that stands out to me. To avoid a 10-game win streak, that one is probably going to be their best chance.
Yeah.
And nothing says a night of love on Valentine's night like Dylan Brooks back at FedEx Forum. DeMichael Cole, if we were your editor, we would be in a lot of trouble. We have buried the lead. We've waited right here at the end of the interview to congratulate you. Last week we got every single guest that joins us to make a pick on the Super Bowl, and you tied with a friend of ours that talks college basketball with us, Blake Lovell, on Wednesday. Y'all both had Kansas City winning 24-20. What'd you miss it by 3 points for?
3 points.
It's a pretty good pick.
Really sound pick.
Yeah, really, really good.
I was stuck on that number, guys. I kept saying my Packers were the only team to do it. No one hit over 25 against Kansas City, but this 49ers offense is really good. But I feel like they hover around there, 20, 21 points. But at the end of the day, I know if you give Patrick Mahomes the ball last, which
you said it.
Saw, we've seen that movie too many times.
Yeah. No, it's, he has definitely entered the territory now of do not bet against Patrick Mahomes as an underdog or in a big game.
If you can get points with it, you better take him. We had 18 pickers last week. 10 picked Kansas City, 8 picked San Francisco. 8 people picked the under 47.5. That's what we were keying off of most all of last week. So 8 went under, 10 went over. You hit the game and the under. You need a 900 number. 1-900 called DeMichael.
Something. Good picking, DeMichael.
Good picking, DeMichael.
And it should be a fun night tonight at FedEx Forum. Pelicans, Grizzlies tip-off at 7 o'clock. DeMichael, as always, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll do it again next week.
All right, take care, guys. Appreciate you having me.
Thanks, DeMichael.
Thank you, DeMichael.
DeMichael Cole, the Grizzlies beat writer for the Commercial Appeal, joins us every single Monday. And, heck of a pick by him.
Heck of a pick by him. He and Blake Love were the winners. Now we got to figure out what they won.
Yeah.
Because as good as DeMichael is with us taking him to lunch, we're kind of already doing it. I don't know if Blake wants to drive down here for lunch.
Yeah, we'll have to figure it out.
We'll have to figure it out. But they did have really good picking. And don't you think we could look up? I'm sure not going to say this time next year, but in 2 years, you got a legit Big Four you can make a lot of noise. Now, I know the fans don't want to hear 2 years, but the Grizzlies, if they're healthy next year, they're going to be good.
Sure. I mean, when you look at this team and kind of what this season has turned out into, I think a lot of people can say, oh, waste of a year. But, Brad, I would say it's been a good year if what you found in Vince Williams and G.G. Jackson is sustainable. And it's a big if, of course. But, I mean, you look at this team and this rotation, and I don't know, even if this team was fully healthy, how much of a run they could have gone with, because I don't know how much I trust their bench and with what it was, and now you've made some changes. And, I think you're looking in 2 years, if they can be a real factor, I think it's a huge success.
Sure can. Got to replace Steven Adams, know that. And he was never coming back this year.
Exactly.
And it was kind of all messed up from the beginning with Ja. After tonight, there will just be 28 home games remaining. Is that right? Yeah.
Wow.
After tonight will be 28 games remaining.
Okay.
Total 28 games remaining. Remember, that first 25 was without Ja. We knew that going in.
Yeah.
His last 28 is going to be without him, too.
Whew, I don't know if I would have had that on my bingo card before the season started. First 25 and final 25 games of the season, all without Ja Morant.
And been without him, and one thing about a nightmare year, you might as well go ahead and do the good old-fashioned nightmare. It's like in the insurance adjusting world for insurance agents. They don't want half a fire.
No.
And we had the full burn down this year, and now starting to climb back. But I don't know how open that window is. I like what DeMichael said.
Yeah.
2 years ago, winning that first-round series against Minnesota, nobody would have thought hadn't won the series since then.
No, absolutely not. I mean, we thought that was the start of this, long process. And, we always talk about how quick that window can be. And so hopefully for the Grizzlies, figure some things out this year and try to get back to that window.
And usually when it slams shut, that's total start over. Buffalo Bills may be encountering that.
No, you're right about that. So we'll see, but it's going to be a long 28 games for the Grizzlies as they wrap up this season. Well, before we get to a break, I got to remind you about our 5 o'clock sponsor, Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Jean, out on the historic square in Collierville since 1961. Charles Hall, he started working there in his teens, and now with his wife, Laura, they own the place, known for all the boots, but also clothing, accessories, and a cap for any team in any season. They've got Western wear, but work boots, safety toe, soft toe, rubber boots, boots for every single occasion you can find at Hewlett & Dunn. And from head to toe, they have you covered with every brand imaginable, whether it's Ariat, Dan Post, Anderson Bean, you can find it at Hewlett & Dunn. And they've got it whether for men or women. They've also got clothing options like jeans, pants, shirts, shorts, outerwear, and the best duck head collection you'll find. Charles and Laura Hall invite you to 111 North Center Street on the square in Collierville or to their website, HewlettDunn.com. And I mentioned the accessories. They've got hats, sunglasses, boot care products in every area, team snapback or cool hat you can think of. Whether it's the Tigers, Mississippi State, UT, Ole Miss, or the Razorbacks, they've got a cap for whatever area team. And for travel, their bag selection is top notch. HewlettDunn.com. But please head out to Collierville, give them a visit, and say hello at 111 North Center Street on the square in Collierville. That's Hewlett & Dunn. Well, we need to go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, we'll talk about what's trending.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Five Ash Roofing, it's what we do. Roofing and siding, gutters too. We're the pros you can trust to get it done right. Call on us. Five Ash Roofing, the name to know. Five Ash Roofing, the only way to go. Five Ash Roofing, it's what we do. Five Ash Roofing.
Is that not the corniest thing you've ever heard? Can you believe I paid good money for that silly jingle? Well, the experts say make it memorable, and I think I got my money's worth. Five Ash Roof Services, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five Ash Roofing, 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five Ash Roofing, it's what we do.
Case IH is a proud supporter of the Mississippi Farm Bureau, and thanks to a membership benefits partnership, Mississippi Farm Bureau members receive a discount of up to $500 on every qualifying Case IH tractor and piece of equipment you purchase. This discount may be used with other promotions, rebates, or offers. So join Mid-South Ag Equipment and the Mississippi Farm Bureau and pocket up to $500 in savings. Call Mid-South Ag at 662-890-3141 to get your discount today.
The best athletes don't just play the game, they change it. When it comes to investing, Gainbridge is doing the same. Their online platform does things differently because it's designed to put you in charge of growing your own savings. It's intuitive, it's easy, and best of all, it's on your terms. No wonder Gainbridge has earned the trust of 40% repeat customers. It's a better way to invest because it's investing your way. Get started today at Gainbridge.io.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. and join Ottawald Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawald is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Jean Company in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. We've got less than 30 minutes left in today's show, and we just got done talking to DeMichael Cole about the Grizzlies. They're in action tonight against the Pelicans, and we've just learned in the last couple of minutes Gigi Jackson will be inactive tonight due to violation of team rules. So he will not be playing tonight in that game against the Pelicans. And we're in a time right now where you need every single player that you've got. And because of whatever team rule he violated, he won't be with the group tonight.
Yeah, I don't know what the rule was, but we've talked about it a lot, especially with his new deal. We don't want any bad habits starting because this franchise, it needs to be drama-free.
Yes.
From here on.
No, absolutely. And,
in this window opportunity.
Sure. And, still should, we talk about all the time how young he is, should be a freshman in college, theoretically. And so, young guys make mistakes and do things that they're not supposed to sometimes. And so, hopefully it's a learning lesson for him. And we don't have something like this. Curious what it was, but, hopefully, like you said, it doesn't form into bad habits during this kind of weird season for the Grizzlies.
A full year of picks for us completed yesterday.
Man, I don't want to talk about it.
With the Super Bowl. Group lock missed yesterday. Group locks for the NFL this year, 15 and 26.
Woo.
And we missed yesterday. Johnny won the straight-up picks for the playoff rounds. He had that going into the weekend. He finished 10 and 3. We all missed there, too.
Yeah.
He 10 and 3 straight up. I was 8 and 5. Bryant was 5 and 8. For the year, in college football, I was 50 and 46. Bryant was 44 and 52. In the bowl season, I was 25 and 17 on bowls. Bryant was 21 and 21. College football lock for the year, I was 8 and 5. Bryant was 7 and 6. Shock, I was 6 and 7 with 3 of those straight up. Shock, you were 3 and 10 in college with 2 of those straight up. NFL for the year, you were 63 and 61.
Okay.
I was 54 and 71. Is that right? Yes. No, 54 and 70. You were 63 and 61. I was 54 and 70. NFL lock for the year, we were both 11 and 7. NFL shock for the year, you were 8 and 10 with 5 of those straight up. I was 6 and 12 with 5 of those straight up.
Wow.
College football group locks for the year, we were 26 and 13.
Okay, not bad.
NFL, 15 and 26.
Yikes.
For the year, group lock 41-39. We've been much worse.
We've been much worse. But, Johnny, something to keep in mind next year when you're fully in and you're making picks. Sometimes, especially if you're, tabbed to go last in the pick and you've already heard two of the same team.
Go against.
You might just want to throw everything out.
Go against.
And go against. We have not had the good history of group locks.
Okay, I got you.
As much as we love group locks, we're not very good with group locks.
For the year, I finished plus 6 points. You finished minus 2 points. I'm telling you, where I got my advantage and retained my bowl picking championship. At the bowl season.
They get me. They get me every single time.
Just ride the SEC and you'll win the bowls.
Well, that's that's
I
good
love
logic.
it, Brett.
That works out for a lot of people. But congratulations to you, Brett. I guess
Friday or over the weekend we didn't have Tiger Bankroll on the air on Friday, so we had to do it off the air.
We're just gonna do all of these back to back. You keep on.
We're gonna get it all out of the way. Right, we're getting it all out of the way.
I like it, Brett. Release it.
Johnny he went with the Tigers and laid the 6.5. He bet 75 to get him to 925 for the year. Johnny, you're 75 from getting back to the starting gate.
Man, I'm ready. Slowly but surely.
Bryant took Tulane for 50. That dropped him to 8-10 for the year. Johnny's 13-11 picking Tiger games against the spread. Bryant's 10-14. I'm 13-11. I bet 25 on the Tigers to get to 14-35 for the year. The Tigers are now 9-15. And will they keep their favorite streak going Thursday night in Denton, Texas?
It's a really good question, Brett, and something to keep an eye on. Because what was it?
It is
Texas A&M last time that they were an underdog.
Last time underdog in Texas, like Thursday night will be.
Yeah.
On a Sunday afternoon, they were 7.5. They were a 7.5 point underdog to Texas A&M and won straight up 81-75. True or false? It's that time of year. Okay. Has the Pit at Denton, Texas, ever hosted NCAA tournament games?
True.
It is very true. Very early in the Pit years, the Pit at Denton, Texas, they hosted mid-70s.
All right.
At Denton, Texas. Tough place to play.
Yeah.
Lovingly known as their Pit. I think of the Pit as being New Mexico, but it's a tough place to play.
Sure, absolutely. It's going to be a interesting game. We know that defense that North Texas runs and has kind of kept it from McCaslin. They promoted one of his assistants to be head coach. So still very similar philosophies, kind of doing what they've done these last couple of years when they have been very impressive on the defensive side of the ball, and I'm sure it's going to be tough at times for the Tigers to score.
What did you think of the Tigers matchup zone, but don't call it a matchup zone?
Yeah, interesting. No, I think, it's if that's what you got to do to get it to work. I mean, you saw early in that game, Tulane, they were having fits. I mean, they couldn't get anything going. They looked out of sorts. Jason Munns was tweeting saying that, sitting there watching them, it looked like they were just exhausted and just completely out of whack. And, you saw very early in that game, yes, I know in the second half, Tulane kind of started knocking down shots and made it a little closer than that game actually was. But early in that first game, it was all Tigers. I think at one point went on a 16-0 run. So I was a big fan of it.
And then could cruise and, look, you could see a lot of zone Thursday night. You could see some from Memphis, and I think you'll see some from North Texas.
Yeah, I think you definitely will. As North Texas tries to combat the length and athleticism of Memphis, maybe try to give some of that up and go into a zone and see what happens. I'm interested because we've seen this Tiger team. At times they can look, so locked in and so good offensively. And then at other times they go on these scoring lulls and can't get really anything going. I think back just last week to that Temple game where they're up by 23 points and, playing really well and shooting the ball well, come out in the second half, and Temple, starts this comeback and the Tigers start struggling to shoot the ball, struggling to find the basket. And, I think this North Texas defense, defensively of a team, I think they are much better defensively than a lot of these other teams that the Tigers have seen in conference play.
Yeah, you mentioned Grizzlies tonight at home against the Pelicans, Wednesday night at home against Houston, Thursday against Milwaukee, Friday night at home against the Clippers, and then a week from tonight at home against Brooklyn. So a lot of games at home now in this tough stretch of the year. The Tigers on the road at North Texas and at SMU at Moody on Sunday afternoon, and it starts the beginning of the end of the season. And I think the best part of the conference schedule, and you got Charlotte that you haven't seen anywhere coming to FedEx Forum. You've got Florida Atlantic at FedEx Forum that you haven't seen. You get the rematch, the revenge game against old rival UAB.
Yeah, so it's going to be a very interesting stretch in Charlotte. We talked about it earlier. I think David Cobb mentioned it first. They've promoted their coach that was on an interim tag, and after kind of the start of conference play, only one loss in conference. That was to South Florida. They promote him. I think I saw during the break, I was looking, one of the earlier breaks, so I think it's a 5-year deal for him. So, some stability at head coaching there at Charlotte, but, we'll see what they've got in about a week when they come to FedEx Forum.
Real quick before we go to the break. So last night with the win by Kansas City, now they're third in the 21st century and in the 21st century. So nothing changes there. So 13 different NFL teams to win a championship in the 21st century, most notably San Francisco and Dallas having not won one. You would think they would. Those teams have won a lot. So 13. Here it is across sports. 16 with Major League Baseball, 11 for the NBA, 13 for the NFL, 13 for college football, and 13 for college basketball. Wow. College basketball's up next, and it looks like UConn is the prohibitive favorite to repeat. So we would go into it, and for all the people that say the same old teams win it in college football being tied with college basketball, that everybody generalizes and stereotypes as anybody can win it. Right. And then with the NFL, the league that is set up to not have repeat winners.
Yeah, it's interesting, and you would certainly think NFL and college basketball would have, especially college basketball, would have significantly more. And right there, all knotted up. It's hard to believe.
And with baseball getting ready to spring training getting ready to start, Corey Seager was the MVP of the World Series last year. Yep. That was his second. If he went back and won it this year, he would have 3 MVPs, just like Patrick Mahomes. And I bet you there are people on his team that doesn't know he's won it twice.
You're probably right, honestly. And, has played really well. And, I mean, wow, it'd be crazy if we had third for Patrick Mahomes, then third for
won with the Nationals, but won last fall with the Rangers.
Yeah, and so, did it again this year. That would be certainly something. But let's go ahead and get to our final break of the day. When we come back, we'll wrap up today's show with Taco Bell Crunch Time.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Hi, folks. The Chevy Sheriff with good news for car and truck buyers. The Sunrise Chevy Ranch has acres of new Chevys and GM certified in stock and ready for immediate delivery. A $6 million used car inventory with cars and trucks for every budget, and a lot specializing in cars and trucks under $99.95. If you've been turned down by another dealer, see us at Sunrise. We specialize in secondary financing, and Sunrise is the home of guaranteed credit approval. Immediate financing available. Cars and trucks may not be free, but at least they're affordable at Sunrise. Find new roads to the Sunrise Chevy Ranch, 385 in Houston, Levy, and Collierville.
They say you can't pick the best barbecue in Memphis.
Who is they?
The people that say things.
Like what?
Well, that you can't pick the best barbecue in Memphis.
Well, that's ridiculous. It's Central Barbecue.
Well, I'm telling you, these people said that you can't even say Central Barbecue is the best barbecue in Memphis.
But it is. There's no better slow smoke, perfectly cooked barbecue in Memphis or anywhere else.
Look, I'm just saying that they say.
What else do they say?
Well, that the earth is flat.
You have got to get off of social media.
That's what they say as well.
Chris Price, it's so good to see you. And you have a new business?
Yes, Dave. MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Have you noticed water stains on your ceiling? With storm season here, take a walk around your home or business and look up. Make sure there are no water stains signaling a leak prior to the heavy storms coming in. If you do see signs of water, call me. My team and I will come out, diagnose the problem, and prescribe a fix. Our team of Hague-certified inspectors are waiting to assist with any inspection or repairs you may need. We have 3 crews dedicated to repairing roofs in the Mid-South. As certified Owens Corning Corning, and Mule High dealers, we offer 20-year, no-dollar limit labor and material warranties that offer hassle-free ownership. That's our hassle-free ownership guarantee. Allow Metro Builders team of professionals to assist you in maintaining your property's integrity and value. MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Your local commercial roof experts. Ask about our commercial roof maintenance agreements. Protect your investment with MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Call me, 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717. 375-1717.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-583-5795.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-583-5795. That's 800-583-5795.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
It's leap year, so jump into big savings at Gossett Kia on the Pike. New 2024 Kia Forte LXS gets 41 MPG, $239 a month, $27.99 due at signing. How about 7-passenger seating? Get 2023 Kia Sorento LX, $319 a month, $34.99 due at signing. 2024 Kia Telluride LX, $459 a month, $34.99 due at signing. All 36-month lease, and don't forget, every Gossett Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So call Bobby J to put you in a new Kia today. That's Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or online anytime at KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 650 acquisition fee, Forte RE 722-812, MSRP 21,590, Sorrento PG 242710, MSRP 33,010, Telluride RG 462-822, MSRP 38,705. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 2/29/24 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Hewlett & Dunn, Boot and Jean Company in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
This is pretty cool, and we're just getting started, so...
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskell.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
The double steak grilled cheese burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla, with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The double steak grilled cheese burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
Well, Brett, what I learned today, this comes from Jonah Dillon, who wrote a story about it over at the Commercial Appeal. ESPN's Mel Kiper talked about Blake Watson today during a segment about sleeper running backs in this year's NFL draft. They were talking about options at sleeper running back, and he said, "How about Blake Watson?" Then went on to talk about what he did as a running back at Old Dominion, at Memphis, how he was a wide receiver in high school, then converted early at his time at Old Dominion to a running back. Then he went on to say this, quote, he's the kind of guy you can move around. You can get him in jet sweeps. You can put him in the slot. Blake Watson's an interesting guy. If you're talking about a late-round running back, you better be versatile, and you have to have hands to make spectacular catches. A former wide receiver turned running back, kick return skills, all those things add up for me that Blake Watson to be a heck of a possibility in the later rounds of the draft. So we talked a couple weeks ago about Blake Watson turning heads at these various games that he was playing in before the draft, but now Mel Kiper, who one of the top guys at ESPN when it comes to the NFL draft, is starting to take notice and saying that Blake Watson, a guy to keep an eye on around draft time.
And remember, Pacheco, 7th round, and the big addition he's been to Kansas City. What I learned, we're seeing it. The modern health miracle from stage 4 something illness for Jordan Brown to playing his most minutes and scoring his most points since November. What a story. I guess we're just supposed to act like all that never happened. Just oopsie.
Well, I think if the coaching staff wanted you to do something, it would be that. Forget that ever happened. Back and better than
Just
ever.
kidding.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. What I could have done without, I guess I could have done without all of that back a couple of months ago. But this happened over on ESPN yesterday during their Super Bowl preview on ESPN. Adam Schefter reported on ESPN yesterday that the Cowboys were going to hire Mike Zimmer as their new defensive coordinator. He had just been told that the contract had not been finalized, but there was an agreement in place between the Cowboys and Mike Zimmer. Only problem was Rex Ryan was sitting on set when he reported this. The same Rex Ryan that interviewed for the defensive coordinator job for the Cowboys. After Adam Schefter was done reporting, Rex Ryan, it was weird how they did it. They kind of were trying to make jokes, say, oh, I don't know why everyone wants to take you from us. Even Schefter, at the end of his reporting, he was like, oh, but they loved Rex Ryan. They said Rex Ryan was a great interview.
They're going to miss him, too.
I'm actually surprised that they did not hire him. And then Rex Ryan, after everyone was done complimenting him, said that he does not believe Adam Schefter's report and that he does not think that the DC job had been wrapped up in Dallas, and he thought that it was still wide open and that he could still be named the defensive coordinator. Well, it was announced today that Mike Zimmer will be the defensive coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys.
Sorry, Rex. You didn't get the job. Could have done without, when you advertise and you want a party, you want debauchery, you want anything goes. And then it turns into Animal House debauchery with drunkenness and anything goes, and then you try to scale it back. What do you expect is going to happen? And that's what happened at the Phoenix Open. It got to a tipping point. Who knew the golf course could get to a tipping point? Woo. And you'll see a big drawback there next year. I mean, there was a person that fell out of the stands. And was injured badly.
Brett, I blame all the rain and the postponements. I think if we'd been a clear weekend, everybody would have been on their better behavior.
When you got to cut off the drinking on Saturday out there, then it's gotten pretty ribald.
You know something is wrong. Where are you beaming tonight?
Minnesota at Crypto versus the Clippers. If that's the Western Conference Finals, it'll be good stuff. I'll be fine by it. One game in an all-important loss column is all that separates 4 teams at the top of the West. Those will be the 1 through 4 seeds in the West, but I have no clue in what order.
Yeah, no, that's going to be a really good game tonight. Being me, 8 o'clock tonight over on ESPN, number 4 Kansas against 23rd Texas Tech. And actually, those have changed because I wrote that down before the AP Top 25 was even out. So I don't know where they are in the Top 25 polls currently, but a Top 25 matchup, I believe, nonetheless, should be a good game later tonight on ESPN.
10 NBA games, Jokic versus Giannis in Milwaukee. Grizzlies at home. The Grizzlies have been favored at home since January 3rd against Toronto. They were favored on the road Saturday night in Charlotte and couldn't get there. Tonight against New Orleans. Duke at home with the zany Cameron Crazies versus Wake. 3 or 4 bid ACC. Right now in the ACC, Clemson's at 7 and Virginia's 2nd.
Wow. Wow, hard to believe. Very weird when we get to this time of the year in conference. But no, that Kansas game, Kansas now 6, Texas A&M not ranked anymore, but still should be a good doubleheader on ESPN tonight. A lot of games. We even mentioned that McNeese State, that was the team that Shelby, about an hour and a half ago, said that he really liked and to keep an eye on. They play tonight over on ESPN Plus. If you want to go check that team out, could be a Cinderella team in March. That game later tonight on ESPN Plus. But a limited slate in college basketball. Pretty good slate in the NBA, though. Like you mentioned, some very intriguing games, especially the Grizzlies back in action tonight. Well, that's all the time we have. Enjoy your night. We'll talk to you again tomorrow afternoon.